That's because I've had to. Wow. No, I had. Hang on. Alright, they've got me. You guys talk? No.
What I originally said was, hello. Can
Now
you
they
hear
can
me
hear
now?
you. Sorry, everybody. I was not expecting that. But I did have power problems the other day and the computer rebooted, and I think that might have been what caused that. Yay! Sorry about that. So, hi, everybody, and welcome to the What the Fuck Show. With me this evening, we have Godless starring himself, Will.
Kinky.
And the ever lovely Kitty the Atheist.
Did you notice my name today, Will?
I did.
Kinky Kitty.
Not wrong.
You know, I want to give a quick disclaimer to everybody. If you're under 18, get out of here right now. Come back when you're over 18. Don't take any medical advice from me. I may change and put on my leather later. I'm pro walking with your butt cheeks out. I may gatekeep a little bit, so I apologize in advance.
No, don't never apologize for this one. if you're gatekeeping cishet whites, that's fine. No, really, it's not. It's not really fine, but I just had to say that.
I think it's important to get that message across because as Kitty and I have discussed a million times, and Kitty can say it better than myself, we have people who are not in the community that have nothing to do with Pride that are attempting to gatekeep or even come into a conversation that they are not a part of in any way, shape, or form. So I think it's important to convey that message.
Well, yeah, I mean, essentially the TLDR of it is Pride has become more commercialized, and with that commercialization comes a push to make it more family-friendly, family-oriented, where it then becomes a queer inclusive event rather than, a queer event made for and by queer people under the LGBTQ plus umbrella. And ultimately, I mean, you see it getting worse every year, and now they're doing the whole think of the children. And sure, I wouldn't bring a child to Folsom, but, there's also, it comes down to, where do you draw the line? What do you consider to be kink? Is it just guys and assless chaps walking around with dog collars on? I mean, sure,
I think also
that's kinky, but it's not like an actual BDSM scene. There's a difference between doing a BDSM scene in public and just wearing basically bondage gear walking around,
I mean, let's face it, there's a lot of bikers who wear almost bondage gear.
So there's actually a joke for people who ride. It's with all that leather on, you're either going to a biker bar or a gay bar.
Yeah.
And it's true.
But they're not mutually exclusive.
All around here, they're probably one and the same.
Gay
there's
biker
a
bar.
reason for that. The whole rise of kink and gay men, it started around, the start of the AIDS pandemic or epidemic, where you literally have people dying, left, right, and center from this fucking invisible killer. And so they got more into leather and bondage and kink. And it is a core part of the tapestry of what it is to have pride. And let's not forget, Pride started as a riot of saying, we're here, we're queer, we're not going anywhere, so stop treating us like fucking subhuman.
And I think that's what's happening is that we've come full circle to the point where it's become mainstream, and now people are trying to apply these PC mainstream things that were never attributed to Pride in the first place. And I want to say, big disclaimer, my son has been to I think 6 or 7 different Prides. I've gone to Pride off and on every year since I think 1998. I've only missed 4 or 5 years. One, of course, last year was because of COVID. I probably won't go this year either because of COVID. But my whole point is, if it's one of those things. Anybody can have an opinion about anything, but if you're not involved in the community, it's kind of not up to you to dictate what goes on. You know,
Exactly.
and I want to take a really quick controversial step because a lot of our lovely ally friends are here, and I love you guys, and you guys are amazing and awesome. But there's some people in the community that I see that I know do not like people that are under the umbrella, and they change their logo to the rainbow flag. There's people that I know that are homophobic that change their logo to the pride flag. It's been appropriated by people who don't even like us anymore. You know?
It's-
Yeah,
Clout
that is
chasing and
true
it's-
appropriation. That is.
Yeah,
No, it's clout chasing, and it's basically a way to make yourself look better than you actually are. It's like, and other people have done it too. Like, I saw like some prominent YouTubers on like Twitter and Instagram where, you know, they would be like, oh, well, because I spoke out, you know, against the police and in support of BLM, I lost a whole bunch of followers. So not only are they virtue signaling that, but then someone actually checked their analytics and they actually gained more than they lost. So like it was a virtue signal that was like tainted by dishonesty. And then they got really pissy when somebody pointed that out. And it's the same thing with people that they just change their picture to a black square. It's like, okay, you know, go and donate to charities that are helping minority communities, or fucking go and like march. Or if you can't march, do what I did. I couldn't march, so I sewed masks and gave them to somebody that, you know, I know was a street medic and like going to all of the BLM marches in the area. I mean, it wasn't much, but it was something I could do, and I did it. It was more than just changing my profile picture for a week.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, a perfect example of that, and I'm not going to mention the name of the particular YouTuber, but I'm sure most people will know who I'm talking about. A certain prominent YouTuber profiteering by making pro-trans T-shirts on their hub, and then using the transition of Elliot Page to promote selling those T-shirts. That was pure profit for themselves, based on the back of a trans person, and they can just go and fuck off for doing that because
That's part of one of the things. Like Ox just commented, Ox, you're amazing. You are not the problem. There's people who are quite literally against the community who put up a flag this time of year, who any other time of year they're bad mouthing, they're going out of their way to alienate people under the umbrella,
or they're donating to fucking anti-gay charities and organizations.
yeah, that especially happens with some companies who during Pride put out promotions that are aimed at the LGBTQ plus community, and the rest of the year they're donating money to the Heritage Foundation or something like that, and it's like, yeah, fuck off.
And you know what? Maybe I've noticed it more this year because I'm more involved on Twitter and stuff. But the virtue signaling has driven me through the wall. I'm coming through the wall like the Kool-Aid man, the not so nice Kool-Aid man.
Yeah.
I'm over it.
My mom just got my son a shirt, a T-shirt with the Kool-Aid Man on it. So like, and it says "Oh yeah" underneath. It just like, that's my childhood right there.
Mine too.
And fun fact, it wasn't Kool-Aid that they drank at Jonestown. It was Flavor-Aid. It was the cheap knockoff brand. They say drank the Kool-Aid, and even Holy Kool-Aid got his name from that whole trope. But it was Flavor-Aid, not Kool-Aid. There's your little trivia
saw
fact
that.
for the day.
I saw that yesterday, and it was definitely a brain bomb. It definitely was a brain bomb. But it's
so
one
before
of those
anybody thinks that we're virtue signaling by talking about kink in Pride, we are, all three of us are under the LGBTQ plus umbrella, and all three of us have had our doubles in kink.
And
So we are more than qualified to talk about this.
I am primal prey, submissive rope bunny. Like, those would be my top ones. So I like being dominated. I like the, aspect of like prey, of almost being like devoured or claimed. I love being tied up, and I love being bitten. And yeah, I'll just stop there to give you a general idea.
I used to love being bitten, and then I met a vampire, and she literally severed a tendon in my ear, like in my neck. to where I
Ow.
couldn't turn my neck. Like, she bit me so hard, it did something to where I couldn't do this for like 3 months.
Wow. Probably got the nerve.
That's a bit over the top.
Yeah, a little. Like, I mean,
Well, it
for
happened to
I've
me.
had times
Did you
that I've
remember
had-
your safe word?
I was young. I was like 19 or 20, so it turned me off to it. You know, you get injured.
fair. I mean, having a bad experience can cause somebody to then develop either an aversion or just not want to engage in BDSM scenes any longer. Like, I've had times where I looked like a leopard. I had so many bruises across my body, but I was totally fine with it because I loved every minute of it. However, when going to like fucking shave my legs later, or go in the shower, or you go to like scrub yourself, you're like, ooh, that's a tender spot, you know.
Overdid it a little bit. So for me,
What?
I'm a sub, and although you wouldn't imagine me as being a sub because I'm quite outgoing in personality normally, but sexually I'm a sub, and I also like Kitty like a bit of rope play, so yeah.
Well, and I've actually, like, you're not the only woman that I know that is outgoing and assertive in their normal life, but then submissive when it comes to BDSM and sex. And my thought process, because I'm the same way, is,
Yeah.
I can be a bit of a control freak in, like, my regular everyday life. Like, I like things just so, and if things feel like they're spiraling out of control at all, it gives me anxiety. But
Oh, yeah.
when I'm with somebody that I trust and I have that bond with, where I have, communication and trust, it really does come down to trust. It's all built on that. Then there is something surprisingly liberating about just surrendering all control and just letting things go. But ultimately, the submissive is technically the one that's in control in a healthy, safe BDSM relationship, because as soon as they use the safe word, everything stops and you're done.
Exactly.
It's done. So you have that out switch. So if it ever gets to be too much, as long as you're with somebody that respects your boundaries, and
Yeah.
a good dominant will know how to push your boundaries without going over them, not pushing you past them. And that's something that comes with time and interactions. You have to do many scenes with somebody and have a good relationship with them, and it doesn't always have to be sexual either. Like,
No.
there are tons of BDSM relationships that don't involve sex at all.
Hi, I'm Godless Sewing. I'm an Aquarius. And let's have a talk real quick, because we're talking about kicking stuff. Because I'm a top. I'm an angry kind of top. I want everyone to come and sit down on Godless's couch real quick, because let's have a quick psychological session. Because there's a lot of people that have said like a bunch of like bottomy things to me and been like, oh, bottom this or that. When someone says that, they are literally projecting their stereotype on you. So to all of those people, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I don't swing that way.
Small
I
PP
did-
energy.
In no way, shape, or form am I shaming you, But in the one thing that bothers me is when people tell others what they are. And they assume just because you're bisexual that you are the just sloppiest bottom on planet Earth. And you know what? There's nothing wrong with somebody that is a sloppy bottom. I'm not shaming sloppy bottoms at all.
Christ.
At
Will.
all. Some of my best friends are sloppy bottoms.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
I'm just saying,
You had to go there.
Oh, that's dreadful. I really wish I had said that.
What did I just walk into the middle of?
I don't.
Apparently,
I don't know
Will's
if you
sloppy
wanna
bottom.
know.
No, I'm saying I got a little Freudian for all the people that constantly are trying to bottom me. That's on them, and they need to get help. So again, let's come on, sit down on the Godless couch for a second. You guys need help. Stop projecting, But let's go back to kink and pride and why. And now that Jenny's here, hi Jenny, how are you?
Hi, Kenny.
I'm all right. How are you?
Well, thank you. There's one thing that I want to go off about really quick, is that because of social media and things like that, TERFs, evangelicals, and people who have no damn business whatsoever saying anything about Pride, never attended a Pride event in their life, now have a voice and an audience for it. So the conversation is back up. And these are people who want nothing to do with us, but they want to discuss our events like they're going to be there, and then put it through their morals, which is complete bullshit, utter and complete bullshit. Hi, Jenny. How are you? Jenny's in love. Let's all take a moment.
Let's enjoy it. Let's bask in Jenny's glow, because she is really glowing.
I've been preoccupied, I guess.
That's a different term for it. You're having a good pride, aren't you?
Yeah, actually, I hadn't thought of it that way. I guess I am. Best one ever.
Absolutely. See, your smile is making me smile, Jenny. That's how it should be.
It's weird how her smile comes through even on her avatar. It's just like...
And I ran into a friend of mine I haven't seen for 20 years.
Awesome.
And we got together and went out to dinner and drinks last night. And it was very, very nice. I missed her terribly. And her kids are all grown up now. And, oh, man. We were busy
Makes
feeling
you feel old, doesn't it, Jen?
Yeah.
You bump into somebody you haven't seen for 20 years, and all of a sudden, I've got grown-up kids.
Last time I saw the kid, the older one was going into kindergarten, and now they're finishing college.
Yeah, exactly.
That's right.
And one declared as trans NB.
Awesome.
So
I bumped into somebody I hadn't seen for 18 years, a couple of years previous for about 18 years, about a year ago, and I said to her, how's your kids? And are they still at home? And she goes, the youngest is 28. I mean, that's not necessarily mutually exclusive, but it's just like...
When people ask me, I haven't seen you, whenever someone says, I haven't seen you in a while, I said, you haven't seen me, I was wearing a dog suit at Pride. I saw you, though. I saw you.
my whole trolling mode tonight, and I'm kind of here for it.
You know why? I'll tell you why. Because it really pisses me off that people have an opinion on an event that was made by a bunch of angry gay people in the first place.
If you don't, question. I mean, I'm going to own up to something that it's going to sound really weird. I have never actually been to a Pride march, because the one they have in Western Australia, and there's only one in Perth, the country regions don't do it, is kind of crap. And I know it's crap. So I don't see the point. There's a huge amount of rules that have been put on it by the local government. And it's basically just a couple of people carrying banners walking through the middle of the city. So it's shit. There's no point. There's absolutely no point. I mean, there's pride parties and things like that happen, but I've never been to a pride march because I've never been outside this state when there's been one on. I'd love to see one in the US or the UK. That'd be awesome, but in Australia, I have to go to Sydney or Melbourne to get a decent experience of one, because there aren't really any decent ones anywhere else.
I think it's different in every country, though. You know, like you said, okay. I was talking about this earlier. I went to a Pride parade in Portland, Oregon. I went to 2, and that was the most clothed Pride I've ever been to in my life. No one.
That's the time you can take your children to.
Yeah, okay, you can. No one had their ass out. There was respectful. They had huge floats. You know, people were dressed up, but it wasn't like. I've taken Isaiah to one Long Beach and I've honestly lost count, because we would take him every year to the ones in West Hollywood. I don't think I'd take my son to the one in San Francisco after noon. You know, it depends on the area and where you're from and your tolerance, you know. And to people say, should I bring my kid to a Pride event? Honestly, it's up to you, but you have to remember, one of the reasons that people are so outrageous is because they were told they shouldn't be, and they can't. And so this is the one time of year that they have to be themselves.
Now, given that you brought this up, Will, we actually have a question about this. So we actually got asked a question from somebody in the community. I won't say who it is, because they may not want to be named. But Oh, I'll read through the question. I will try and skip over things that might give it away who it is, because I don't want to out them on the asking the question, because I think it's a fair and valid question. But so they messaged me and said, I did have one thought, and I wanted to get you guys' opinion on it. They've got 2 kids, and they want to take their kids to Pride celebration so that they can be exposed to the community, and so they don't build up prejudices and things like that. But in the last 2 years where we have gone, there is nudity in the parades and in the park where they welcome children. I'm not really sure how to word this question, so please take this with all the love and trying to understand as possible. I don't believe kids should be exposed to nudity like that anywhere. So would encouraging celebrating kink at Pride make it so that children could not join the celebration? Also, should I maybe not be bringing the kids to this anyway? I just want them to grow up loving who they are and respecting those around them.
Okay, so I mean, it's a complicated question, and it has a complicated answer. I mean, it depends on the pride, because different prides have different kind of rules for it. And, I'm not okay with, using the think of the children argument for why pride can't be a celebration of all aspects of queer culture and queer history. And, but I do understand wanting to protect your children from seeing things that you deem inappropriate for them. So, I mean, I'm okay. And like I said, I don't like the commercialization of Pride because it makes it more gay days at Disney. But I would be fine with having some boundaries, like where, like early in the day, like say, up until 2:00 in the afternoon would be when all the family-friendly stuff is, and then after that time, it's much more open to kind of whatever goes, and then you can have an area cordoned off, like at Folsom, where they would card people. So you could have a grading scale of early in the day, you have more inclusive, corporate, commercialized, and family-friendly events, and then, midday to going into the night, it's basically kind of whatever, people want to do, so to speak, but anything too explicit would be in an area cordoned off, because even some adults don't necessarily want to see that. So
no, they don't. And even some in the community don't want to see it.
Yeah, and I don't mind making it an inclusive event for others by doing that, but don't make it a queer inclusive event. Make it a normie inclusive event. Essentially.
Let me get my pitchfork out.
From the heart of Pride.
Exactly. Let me get my pitchfork out and play devil's advocate again. And this is someone who regularly brings their child, and now that he's older, he could have a choice if he wants to go or not.
To be fair, though, your kid wouldn't care if people got their junk out at Pride.
Well, see, that's because he was raised in the community. So it's cheating with me because he was raised in the community. So that's all he knows, Yeah. So he's a completely different story. But again, Pride is there for people to be themselves because they're told they can't. That is the reason. That's what it's morphed into. We all know the reason why we're here. We forgot what the party was about. That's all.
And there's no reason why we shouldn't celebrate life and celebrate the things we're into, provided we're not hurting anyone else. Well, not without the permission anyway.
But we shouldn't have to ask for permission to do the things that have always been done. No. And again, I think I am coming super snarky and angry tonight because I've been to Pride events up and down the West Coast. I've been to one on the East Coast. I actually made a phone call to a friend of mine who's super privileged, who lives in Georgia, who's on the board of directors for the Georgia Pride. They're tired of the commercialization too. But then again, Coke gives millions of dollars to their Pride events. So you gotta dance with
money spends just as well as straight people money, and they finally understand that. Like, that is the one, if you want to call it, benefit of our fucking corporatization in America, and the fact that things have been getting more and more commercialized, is the fact that companies, they run everything, and they realize that money is money, and
Mhm.
freaking queer money, it spends the same, it goes to the same bank, it's worth the same as non-queer money. So
And they've also realised there's an awful lot of people who fall under the queer or LGBT umbrella. So they're
Exactly.
like, there are as many of,
Market,
there are
give
almost
us
as
your
many of
money.
them as there are conservative. Well, there's probably more than there are conservative.
Can it be my turn
Christians.
now?
What do you
Yes,
Yeah,
Jenny.
of course,
Go
Jenny.
ahead, please, Jenny.
We don't have to bring our kids to every damn thing we do. Okay.
Yes.
I grew up in a world where there were adult events and there were children events. Okay. And I think that's just fine. I think it's wonderful to have blended events where it's family friendly and all that stuff. But some stuff is just not intended to be family friendly. And you shouldn't try to make it that way. I wouldn't take a kid to what are they, these sports shows where all they're doing is showing hunting and butchering animals and shit like that. And that has nothing to do with sex or gay or nothing. Why would I want a kid to see that kind of shit?
I have a quick question. Are kids allowed to go to MMA events, like 18 and under, like professional?
I have
don't know,
no
but they
idea.
can watch it on TV.
That's what
Yeah.
I'm saying. No, I 100% agree with you. 100%.
Although I do have a counterpoint to that, Jenny, and I want your thoughts on it. Is that there are lots of LGBTQ plus kids who want to be able to go to Pride events and be part of the community. So is there a thing that there should be some events, LGBTQ plus Pride events, that are family friendly? Just
Okay,
to
so
be inclusive for the kids themselves
okay.
who are part of the community.
I have a
If you're going to bring a kid into it, that kid's going to have to grow up really fast. Okay. And begin to develop an understanding of human sexuality much earlier than their peers. If they're going to be raised in the LGBT community with parents who tend to be more, let's say, flamboyant. I don't know what word to use. Maybe that's not the right one.
Allies?
But people who are more likely to have sexuality present in their lives and discussed in their lives. I mean, I don't expect a gay couple is going to talk about what they do in the bedroom in front of their kids any more than a heterosexual pair of parents is going to do. I know I certainly wouldn't, and if you're going to bring the kid, if you're going to leave the Playboy magazine on the coffee table, the kid's going to look at it and the kid's going to have questions, and you're going to have to be able to answer those. Okay, and I see that as the exact same thing as if you're going to take a kid to a Pride festival and they're going to see some things, they're going to have questions and you're going to have to answer them. So you're both going to have to do some growing up real fast.
Yeah.
And also, if you're gonna bring your kid, put some sunglasses on your kid as well. I'm biased.
I will make a confession here. I'm kind of squeamish about Pride festivals and all the acting out that went to them. Before I came out, I would not go to a Pride festival because of all the acting out. I thought for sure everybody would know that I'm one of those, just because I'm there. And it was
guilt by association.
And so I avoided it.
I think
things are different now.
because
that point of guilt by association, Jenny, that actually stands a lot for trans people. A lot of trans people won't go out and be seen in public together as a group because of the guilt by association.
Oh, sure.
Because
sure,
a group of trans people is easier to pick out than an individual trans person.
Yeah.
Except for in LA.
Yeah, you're probably all right in LA, but in a lot of places, it really is a pressure thing. So getting support groups happening for trans communities is hard.
What's that, Jenny?
The trans population in LA is like, what, 75%?
Yeah, it's high. It's high. It's one of those things where you don't even know if people are tolerant or not. Just most people just keep their mouths shut. LA is not the most tolerant place on earth, but because we have numbers here, most people just keep their mouths shut. But to go back to bringing kids to Pride festivals, I have, but for as much as I'm promoting it, Isaiah has never been to the after 4:00 events. where you have to wear wristbands and like you get to go see the Black Eyed Peas perform. So
Yeah.
there is a difference. I take him to the Day Festival, which people are still walking around. The kinky people are still there, and it's hot in LA, so no one, everybody's half dressed anyways, So I'm torn on it, but like I said, it's one of those things. He was raised in the community, so he wouldn't know anything else. He wouldn't know anything else because that's what he's been around his whole life.
Now, there is one thing I will say that, you say, like, the person who asked the question, they say they want to bring their kid to Pride so that, they learn to not be, essentially bigoted, or so that they learn to love everybody. You don't have to go to Pride for that. I mean, like, that comes down to parenting and how you raise your child. You could raise a bigoted child and bring them to a Pride festival, and, it wouldn't undo your parenting. And I'm not saying to this person that I think that they're bigoted or anything. I'm just saying, like, speaking, on that, it's just because you bring someone to a Pride festival doesn't mean you're not still instilling in them negative values. It has nothing to do with going to the festival, You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I think it does have a lot to do with going to the festival, because when they see this input, it's going to affect them, and they're going to go one direction or the other. They may feel comfortable with it, and they may turn into a bigot.
There's 2 points that have been brought up in the chat that I want to read out. One was from Junie. Nudity isn't the same as sexual content. I think as a kid it's okay to see half a naked chick or dude on the beach, so we shouldn't be body shaming. It is a no, but there are there limits. If an adult won't go, then the same for kids.
So I want to say something really quick on that. We and I know I'm coming with my giant paintbrush, but as a society, we've become more conservative and judgmental of each other on both sides. We've become so conservative. Like, I'm sorry, I'm not going to freak out if I see a boob on the beach. Grow up. Grow up.
Honestly, there is a huge difference between nudity and sexual content. Nudity in and of itself is not sexual. Nudity is literally the most natural thing for humans because we come into the world naked.
Mm-hmm.
Shame and clothing are, essentially human constructs. Now, do I want to run around naked with the way I feel in my body right now? No. However, there was a time in my life when I was perfectly comfortable in my skin, and I had absolutely no problem whatsoever with people, seeing it. But that's my personal thing. But I don't get wigged out by nudity. Like, again, it is the most natural state of the human body, is to be naked. And by instilling this puritanical concept of nudity is bad, nudity is inherently sexual, I think that is damaging, honestly, to society as a whole.
And it can be damaging
Absolutely.
for people even within our community, because people who come to our community often come out of religions that push on that puritanical thing. So they come out of situations where, purity culture is the thing for them. So then having to deal with something where you've got people walking around in assless chaps at a parade or something like that. I do have a point to make to that, in that if you go to Disney and you watch some of the parades at Disney, they have women dressed in scantily clad bikinis dancing, and men with small grass skirts and things like that. As for some, when they're doing some of the things for some of, if they're talking about movies which have island characters in them, that is nudity almost at the same level that most of the nudity is at Pride. I agree. If it becomes sexual, then I've got a problem with it. But if it's just people enjoying the clothes and being a little bit naked, I don't see that that's any different to anything else that you might see at Disney.
I would hope that the people who are in the parade and feel the need to have some kind of act that may be objectionable by some people, that they would take the time to consider the other people's feelings and to maybe dial it back a little bit. That find a way to deliver the same message, but in a less offensive way.
That hurts. That hurts because the whole point of Pride in the first place is to be so bright, is to be so gay that people have to wear sunglasses. You know, that's quite literally the whole point of it. So even if I agree with you, saying dial it back scares me.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm not saying as a compulsory thing that I said
Okay.
they should consider dialing it back.
I think they have over the years, and like I said earlier, it depends on what city you're in as well. Like the Portland one, everybody was fully clothed. Well, also it's the weather too, but in a place like San Francisco, which has almost the same weather, it was lit. I'd never seen so many ass cheeks in my life. I was also a kid. I was like 19, 20,
Yeah.
but
And here in La Crosse, Wisconsin, there isn't any parade. There's a picnic in September.
and I don't know, in LA, they've kind of dialed it back, but I think that's because we have throngs of people that show up. Like it used to be a small, 10,000 people would show up. Now we have like 40,000, 50,000 people that they literally shut the whole street down and the entire area of West Hollywood down. So it's a giant event, I don't
We
know.
have lots of places though that we don't take kids. We don't take kids to bars, although in many states it's legal to bring a kid in if they're with their parent. They still can't drink, but they can come in with the parent. We don't take
That'd be
kids.
weird.
We don't take kids to gentlemen's clubs. Do we?
No.
No.
There are lots of things that are for kids only. I think what Kitty was saying earlier about if you should, perhaps it's worthwhile splitting it up to the commercialized set of Pride, which is family friendly, and then the later you get into the mid afternoon and it changes to the more adulty section of Pride, and it's not really kid friendly. I mean, that comes down to a parental decision about whether or not your kid's mature enough to be there or not, I guess. Almost like having a watershed for the event.
I have two stories of observations over my life that I like to offer.
Go for it.
When this kind of discussion comes up. Way back in the 50s and 60s, when television, was putting on various shows or showing Hollywood movies on a regular basis on TV.
Yeah.
If somebody cursed and said, for example, "God damn it," they would censor and they would bleep the whole word. Later in the 60s, they would start to bleep and it would go, "God bleep." Today, it's bleep, damn it.
So I have a quick question, Jenny. When was frankly dear, I don't give a damn. When did that come out?
That movie came out in 1938, 39.
Oh, okay.
And that was just that people passed out apoplectic
Exactly.
in the theaters.
Now, I haven't got to the
was day
second
of
question.
That was the day of Busby Berkeley and stuff in the
I haven't got to the
Say
second
things
question
like,
or statement
if
I was going to
there's-
read out from the chat either.
Hold on.
If a married couple's in a bedroom, they both have to have their feet on the floor.
Yikes.
Hays Code. No, it was the Hays
They
Code.
have, they have rules like that.
And that's why.
Yeah.
And
See, but that's what I'm saying. We've allowed all this this just ooze of this bullshit morality to creep into our lives. That has nothing to do with Pride. I'm sorry. That is the whole point of Pride, is to be the polar opposite of these people who have oppressed the LGBTQIA plus community in the first place.
And people in general, because heterosexuals, cis-het people, non-kink cis-het people get affected by this same puritanic shit as well.
But let's
This
be
is
real.
the reason
What-
why it took so long for fuck to be said on television.
What is it? What is it? One of the biggest things that people hate about people that are LGBTQIA plus. What is one of the biggest things? It's because they know who they are and they're not scared to show it. They have to be. They have no choice but to be themselves. And when you can't hide who you are, you have no choice but to be yourself. So authenticity scares people, and that's why it's scaring me that they're trying to redefine what Pride is.
throughout the years of gay people becoming more and more accepted, the focus has always been on the male homosexual. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And the male homosexual that has always disgusted adult male America is the swishy guy. They can't stand flamboyant swishy gays. You know how a guy like Liberace got through, I don't know. But he did.
Talent?
And today, that hasn't changed. That hasn't changed at all. You know, if you have some football player and he comes out as gay, you know, I've heard this had men say, well, you know, that's all right. He's a pretty tough guy, you know.
Michael Sam.
But if a swishy guy comes out, you know, you hear all these horrible, negative, terrible things said about them.
So there was a football player named Michael Sam who was drafted, and on ESPN, this was years ago, when he was drafted, he made out with his boyfriend on camera. People's heads exploded. And I'm talking about, this is like, what, 3 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago? Those are the same idiots who think that they can comment on Pride. It's the same idiots who are bringing up kink and Pride, who are scared to look at their own genitalia, let alone they want
anyone else's,
to other people. Yeah, I can't stand those people.
I think there's this element of the Puritans don't ask, don't tell to be the norm for everybody.
The other story I have that it's certainly not my story, but the observation that we all will know about as soon as I mention it, is we live in a society that still cannot cope with a woman breastfeeding.
I don't understand that either. I don't get that.
And they get called dirty and filthy and perverted, and it's like, wait a minute, this is what it's for.
Yeah,
this is normal human function. Drape a blanket over the child.
They're even bundling up so they're not showing stuff or going to a private area for it, and they still get harassed about it. You know, it's what?
Yeah,
what
purity culture sucks.
That's why I say that we. Oh, sorry.
Go, Kitty.
No, it's just that's why I say that we need to stop, adding shame to nudity. Nudity is not sexual inherently. Like, sex acts are sexual. Nudity is not. And we need to get away from treating nudity as if it is sexual so that, breastfeeding mothers stop getting harassed in fucking restaurants and public parks when all they're trying to do is feed their children.
It is well known in my neighborhood that on the weekend, I go in my backyard with a cup of coffee and a J and get an even tan. If you look, that's how I met my new. I have new neighbors.
I go again, even tan.
Well, I have new neighbors behind me, and they were all the yuppies were out there discussing, and they were kind of looking at me. So I was like, oh great. So I walk up to the crowd because people between 40 and 60 act like they're 18. So a bunch of grown-ass adults are out there. They're like, so you going to go out there and sun with the new neighbors? I had no idea that these people had already seen me and told everybody. They put this beautiful breakfast nook at the very back of their backyard, which just happens to be where my fountain is, where my grapes are, and where I sit down.
I think they're a bit bigger than grapes.
I sit down. In my birthday suit and drink coffee and smoke a J every Saturday morning before I go shopping, early in the morning. And I didn't know these people were actually eating breakfast out there.
Surely that's their problem. They don't have to look over the fence.
But that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. We have fences for a reason.
Yes.
We live in a society, unfortunately, there's going to be weirdos like me
now,
who
you couldn't
want to
do
have
that in my backyard because you can see through my fences.
Well, how else am I going to get popular,
They say fences make for good neighbors.
Right. I wear shorts.
We had other questions. We had other statements and questions that I was going to read out, and we got really sidetracked. So I'm going to butt in. So Jaded Atheist asked. Well, it was more a statement. There are kids who are LGBTQ+. My son may be, and we think he may be scared of coming out. So in that sense, pride can be good for a kid, because knowing that there are other people out there and that you've got that safety net, that, you know, that this is okay. Pride can be an educational tool if you've got a kid that you think might be.
And also, the one thing about pride, though, is that we keep on categorizing it like it's a bunch of people walking around with leather daddy hats on, beating the crap out of each other. No, it's a bunch of, especially during the day events, it's a lot of couples. You're just seeing people being themselves and being normal around other people that are part of the community. That's another thing what it's about, you know, and that's literally being yourself. So you'll see people who rarely hold hands out in public who are all too happy to be there because they know no one's going to judge them. Besides, at least in LA, besides the weird preachers who literally have to stay on the other side of the street and the cops are standing between us.
Well, that's it's always pissed me off about Pride Parade is that the Westboro churches of the world come to the parade specifically to be incensed and to be angry because of what they see. Don't come.
Oh, they show up.
Don't come.
Oh, Jenny, it got so bad here in LA that like the LGBTQIA plus center filed a restraining order, and they told the city like, hey, if you don't do something about this, we're gonna do something about this. And now there's a row of cops that don't any, and it's really funny. If you look like you're Christian, they won't let you in. So if you're wearing a cross or something, there's been people that are into kink that have been turned away wearing nun costumes. The cops ain't playing. If you're hate-filled, you can't come to Pride because they don't want to deal with it.
That's probably fair, though. That's probably fair. I mean, riling up the Christians is not, but by deliberately antagonizing them is probably not the best idea.
No, but it bothers me because they you know, Pride is such a positive thing. To me, it's nothing but smiles. Like I said, I bring my kid. We eat good food. I drink overpriced coffee. I have a good time, you know. And then there's all these hate-filled bigots at the corner screaming at you.
No, I agree, but that doesn't mean we should antagonize them by dressing up in their nun suits.
The TERFs do come to Pride parades.
They do. I agree.
They say they're lesbians, that they're radical lesbians, and so they have a right to be at Pride, which you can't deny that, I guess.
Yeah,
and they're there, and they want to be the first thing everybody says, and they make trouble.
Yeah, and the usual response in LA is, "Oh, fuck off."
Yeah,
you know, like people are so shocked that because, like, again, it's kind of like when I go to the pot shop. When I go to the dispensary, it is the happiest place on earth. You have never seen so many adults smiling at each other, saying, "Oh, so courteous," because we're all gonna get pot. You know, I walked in there. There's gangsters with all these tattoos. They're like, "Oh, sir, can I hold the door for you, please?" Like, everybody is smiling and loving at the pot shop. That's what Pride is. That is quite literally what Pride is. You know, because everybody's there for a reason.
Seraphin had a statement, and I love it. My work has a nursing mother's room. You have to up security now for the key since people were using it to sneak off and have sex.
That
sounds so normal. That does.
Absolutely.
I would like the youngest folks who seem to have a lot of people in their ranks too, have become much more conservative and stuff. I just want them to understand that when people start behaving that way, they don't find a plateau and stay there. It increases. Mm-hmm. And that at one day they're yelling at a kid to pick up that candy wrapper, and the next day it's get off of my grass, and the next day it's I'm pulling out a gun and I'm going to shoot your damn head, you know, kind of thing. It people always accelerate these kinds of behaviors and these kind of movements. Think carefully about what you're getting involved in and how you're trying to shape your culture and your generation. The people who are conservatives get more conservative, And
Absolutely.
you will too. Because every generation I've watched in my life, and there's been like 3 or 4 of them, that same damn thing has happened. The conservative kids get more conservative and more nasty. And if you're that now, watch out for when you're my age.
Yeah, so true. Jenny's preaching because it's the truth. Oh, so scary but true. There's an old saying, when you're, and I say it all the time and it annoys people, but when you're younger, you fight the establishment, and then when you're older, you are the establishment.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I'm just old enough to realize that. Like, someone recently told me, they're like, "You're a capitalist. What are you so angry about? Why are you still dressed like that?" Like, they were trying to attack my clothes, but they were basically being like, "Your life no longer reflects it as it did 20 years ago." You know.
Matt brings up a point that, because it's the Gay and Lesbian Mardi Gras in Sydney, is the Pride event. And it is a night out for people. And quite often you have more cis people going and participating, cis-het people going and participating than you do people under the LGBT flags for that. Because it's become a cultural thing for Sydney and everybody goes and does it. So in that sense, there's a huge amount of acceptance, but there's also a lot of appropriation.
There's nothing wrong with that, but that's also like, I went to a Martin Luther King Day parade in Ashland, Oregon. There was, I think, like 6,000 white people that marched for Martin Luther King that day. I stood there in awe. Like, I was like, oh, all of these people care. Like, if they care, good for them, you know? I have, just don't dictate to me what to do in my Pride event.
if I have a cishet friend who wants to go to Pride and appropriate things, I'll be more than happy to lend them a dress. Just keep it clean and don't tear it.
I think what happened.
You can
also,
even keep the beard.
Jenny brought it up. And I kind of said it earlier. We're becoming more conservative, and it is your duty to be extra gay at Pride. If you can hear my voice and you're going to Pride, it is your duty, because we're losing who we are, and it's because we're fighting for who we are. But also, in the same sense, because we're in the middle of a war, doesn't mean that we have to stop being who we are because to conform to anyone ever. I'm anti kissing anyone's butt to celebrate myself. Like, I'm not going to kiss your ass. I'm not going to beg you to be me. Sorry, those days are over. Yeah, and that's the whole point of Pride in the first place.
Yeah, which is why we should have Kid Carter. Exactly. I mean, kink is part of that. Especially if you take in the other acronym, GRSM, then that's a sexual minority. Yeah.
And now that I think about it, and even at the Santa Monica Pride and the Long Beach Pride, after 4 o'clock, you have never seen so much ass in your life. No one's wearing pants. No one. Now,
if you're going to talk about this, it's a thing that the Kinksters and the gays and the lesbians and the trannies do. It's like, fuck off, go to Rio. It's just go to fucking Rio, where it's all heterosexuals.
It's really close to my heart, because this is something that I have gone to every year, no matter what my socioeconomic status was, no matter where I was in my life. This is something I've done, and it's important to me. So when it's under attack, it makes me shake my head.
Yeah.
It's a party. It's a party. Get over it. Like Jenny said, we used to separate kids from adults back in the day. When I was a kid, my grandparents would have Scotch parties. Do you know who weren't there? Children.
Okay.
You know.
Brinkadjo, agreed. Don't organise a parade unless you're planning to pay up and spotlight the thing you were celebrating. A sedate parade is just people strolling.
Yeah.
And that's so true. It is very much case that this is a celebration of these people's sexuality. So there's going to be a sexual connotation to Pride, no matter how you try to frame it. And that will not always be kid-friendly. There is no way it can always be kid-friendly. Now, you can have your fancy floats that are more kid-friendly. You'll still have risque costumes and things like that. and you can maybe make that bit a bit more family friendly, but the entirety of Pride, the overall thing of what is Pride, is going to be a little bit sexual in nature, because we are talking about people's sexualities and people's identities, and that's all related to our bodies, about gender, and about the things we like from a sexual perspective, because that's what it is.
And as somebody who works out every year, gets buff for other people, I am proudly rocking my dad bod this year, and I think you should celebrate your body. And Pride is one of those places where no matter what your body shape is, no matter who you are, you can walk around and people will be like, "Hey, you look good. Hey, you look good." You know, I don't know. I've been to too many Prides for people to trash it. I feel like a professional wrestler. Saturday night, brother. I'll meet you at Pride at the gates.
Sunday.
There's no way I'm letting you come for Pride.
I mean, I'm all for this idea.
Unless you want to.
We need to have an openness for kids, because there are kids who are LGBT and they need to feel like there's a space within the community for them. So I think offering something for the kids isn't bad, but it shouldn't be demanded of the community by people outside of the community. It should be something. It probably should be something that the community does anyway. But I think there are those things, and even Pride itself in many places does those things. So to say kink shouldn't be at Pride is just ridiculous, because everyone has a kink. Oh, we lost
always at the good part too.
She was just about to make a valid point. She'll be back. She'll be back.
No, like I said, it's a point of what the F on the What the F show with me, because there are certain groups that I abstain from, so I don't necessarily have an opinion about them. If I don't participate in certain things, I'm not gonna hop in and be like, hey, let's regulate it this and this way, even though I'm not involved in any way, shape, or form. It's bullshit. Stay away from my Pride.
May I go back to the point I
of course
missed because I cut myself off?
No worries,
Cut myself off. That's the second time in my life I've done that. Well, never mind. I knew Jen would get that.
I love it.
Okay.
I'm gonna go back to sipping my tea.
Again, the young folks, and I'm not trying to cite one particular generation, because it seems like it's people under 40, and that's a wide group of people and generations. Okay. Two points I want to make. When we were hippies, this is what we were fighting against, is this rigid morality that would say things in virtually the exact same words and phraseology as you guys are using now about Pride Fest. Okay? You don't sound any different than the stiffs from the 50s and 60s who were dumping on the world and creating morality structures that nobody wanted to live with anymore. Okay? This was settled in the 60s and 70s, okay? We said enough, and the whole world responded and said, yeah, you're right. And the whole world changed. Don't change it back. It was horrible the way it was before.
There's always people who yawn for pine for the fields of old.
It's because they romanticize it and they're completely making it up.
Yeah,
just like
the past wasn't better. The past was never fucking better.
We also have people in our community that are dying to conform. They're begging to conform. And so they're telling other people like, oh, you shouldn't do this and this because I want to be like everybody else. And they're forgetting that may be their plight, but it has nothing to do with the cause. And that's another thing. You can still be LGBTQIA plus and be a self-hater and be anti the umbrella. And you can kick rocks too. Somebody I know in particular. Self-hater. So if you're not going to Pride, Don't worry about it.
The only good thing about going back to the past is there were less things that we as a species have fucked up, like killing off certain species or the environment. They're the only good things about the past. Everything else, we're better now because we've gotten better.
I would never want to live in any other time period than now, because as a fucking woman, like,
Yes.
I have the most rights now than I would have at any other point in history.
Even, I mean, for every group, with the exception of maybe wealthy white men, it is, better to be alive now. And the only reason it's not better for them is because, they're, not as privileged as they used to be. They can't fucking get away with Harvey Weinstein shit anymore.
That's the difference. And I think it's something people forget about, is when you give rights to a minority, you're not giving up your rights. What you're doing is you're removing some of the privilege that you have over them. It's not giving up rights, though. You still have all the rights that you had before. You're just losing some of your fucking privilege.
You're evening the playing field, and there's nothing wrong with that. Egalitarianism is a good thing.
It is. And even for trans people, even though there's been all this crap out there with policies being put in place in some states in the US to fuck over trans kids and the crap that's happening in the UK, there are still more rights across the world for trans people now than there were 10, 15 years ago. We are still better. Yep. We're not where we need to be, but we're better.
I agree with you. Because I get angry I'm getting a slight echo. Oh, never mind. I agree with you because sometimes I get angry at the state of affairs, but then I look back and I'm like, I have to remember, like even my pops is my dad came from the apartheid South, the Jim Crow era. I don't live in that era. People, I think a lot of the times, and I'll take it back to pride before I go off about race. We forget that people died and suffered so that we can sit here and talk shit about other people trying to take pride from us. People died so that we could sit here and have this discussion openly.
Yeah, 20 years ago we couldn't do this. A, there wasn't the technology, and B, some of us could have got lynched for it. We couldn't have this discussion. Things have definitely got better. But we need to maintain the rights that we have now and actually have better rights. And we also need to have. We also need to allow for these things. We have to have a celebration of this. We have to keep telling people that these things that you don't think are right, or these things that you think should be hidden away, are real. They're here. Awareness is what promotes benefit. Sorry.
Give any one species too much rope and they'll fuck it up. The species has amused itself to death. Roger Waters, 1991.
I agree. And there's a whole other flip side to this conversation that I'm like, oh, you better stay away from my pride. I'm kind of mad at the LA Pride because they put a price tag on it. So now they put a price tag on the night festival, which used to be free, but because people like Lenny Kravitz live down the street and walk down the street with a guitar in his hand, they started charging. And it's become commercial, and it's sponsored by a company that I don't want to give any more credit to.
How do they charge people to go to a parade?
Well, what happens is they shut the entire city of West Hollywood down, and literally next to the police station, they put a giant stage, and then they cordon off the stage a little bit up the street, but you still have a giant swath where you can walk up and down, and there's vendors and stuff. But they've pretty much put a barricade around what was an open pride, and because they've figured out they can make money because. Let's be real. Most people that are LGBTQIA plus in LA, like, we run shit here. And I'll put that up against anyone, anywhere. Like, most people here have money that are under the umbrella. And so they know we're saps.
A lot of money.
Yeah, and they know we're idiots, and they know we're gonna pay for it. Just like Star Trek, they know that we want our pride, so they put a fence behind it.
Back home in Milwaukee, Milwaukee has this area. It's called Summerfest Grounds. It's just this big area for parties. Anyways, Pride Fest would always, have the parade, and it would end up at the festival grounds. And there were 3 days of Pride Fest, and there was always an admission charge, a few bucks, and the money went to the LGBT centers and things like that.
That's different than being sponsored by a certain drink that I don't want to. And that's what's happened. Is in also in the same sense in LA, our LGBTQIA plus center has become a multi-billion-dollar business. So they're just as bougie as I would say any corporation, because they went from one dinky building to owning just as much property as the Church of Scientology. In the past 22 years, I've witnessed just with my own two eyes, and helped.
You 4 eyes at the moment, though.
With my 4 eyes, and I've helped.
This is amazing. We have more or less stayed on topic for 70 minutes. How does that happen?
Yeah,
it never happens.
Stay the hell away from my pride. I'll fight you. I don't care if you're under the umbrella. I'll kick backwards and punch at the same time. Talk is cheap. Do
I would like to point out that Will said before this stream, I'm already angry about this. I'm going to stay angry throughout the stream.
Yeah. Well, and here's the thing, rather than making it a queer inclusive event, it can be an inclusive event for people that aren't under the umbrella. There is a way to do that where you have earlier in the day, more family-friendly things, and it gradually shifts as it gets later, and then come sundown, it's fucking anything goes, Folsom Street Fair,
I will
fucking
point
rock
out
with your cock out kind of thing.
Damn right.
I will point out, fucking in the streets is probably something you shouldn't be doing.
Fair. But you get what I'm saying.
Feel if let's say you've organized this pride parade, and it's coming down the street, and it's all, it's very moderate. It's, social groups and stuff, pride. But then towards the back of the parade, and before the back of the parade, you got some people carrying a banner down that says public service announcement. At this point, it's going to get very bawdy. You might want to have the kids turn around or something like that. What about that, to warn people as it happens?
Or how about keep all the cowboys over here? Because let's be real, it's the greatest sight ever, but it's every dude with a cowboy hat on is probably not wearing a full set of pants. No, I agree. I have a problem with that, but if that's what needs to be done, then let it be. Then let it be done. Hold on, I have to. You threw me a curveball. Sorry. No. Okay, hold on. So the answer to that, Jen. Hold on. So you can read my brain. Hell no. Hell no. Hell no. It's not that kind of party. It's not. Pride is not here. These are. Anyways, on to my second point. The problem is when you get so huge and you get so large, you literally always implode on yourself. So the entire enterprise has become commercial. Pride, and there's nothing wrong with LGBTQIA plus centers making money, because you know what? In LA, they help with HIV testing, which we have the best in the nation. We treat people from around the world here in LA for HIV. We have one of the most comprehensive testing systems in America as far as STDs go, so all that money does go to actually helping the cause. And if you're under the umbrella and you live in LA, you can go anywhere and get about 50 condoms in a giant brown bag or 150 if you need them, so it does help the cause, but it's become Godzilla. I'm sorry, on both sides.
Apparently I've ignored Dog somewhere. I'm sorry, Dog. I've got no idea what you typed that I ignored. It was the thing about Sorbo. He's flooding himself out on FaceTime. Is that what it is?
Hey, since I can't see the chat, has anybody pissed at me for anything I've said here?
No.
Oh, Jenny, I'll fight him. Don't worry. I came to fight today.
we're all pretty much on the same page that it's fine with wanting to make Pride more inclusive to the normies, but not in a way that, you know, takes away from like the spirit of Pride and what it started out as, and the fact that this is the one thing, you know, that fucking people under the umbrella have that is ours, and the straight should not be able to fucking take it from us with Hays Code
Absolutely.
style think of the children argument.
All right. Here's some deep personal sharing that I probably shouldn't, but I'm going to anyways. This is one of the things that me and my shrink are working on right now, is that I tend to give of myself to the point where I ignore myself and help other people instead. And that's kind of what I'm doing here right now. I can see it, that I'm so worried about the people who would be offended that I'm willing to give up some of my freedoms for the sake of these folks. And and it's not a good lifestyle, folks. Don't live this way.
F them, and not like the fun F them, the go F off F them, you know.
Right?
I admit to being mixed, you know. It's
and no, I understand. Like, I have a child, you know. I don't care if my son sees nudity, because I don't believe in perpetuating like puritanical ideas. Like, nudity is not inherently sexual, but I don't necessarily want my son witnessing, you know, a fucking orgy happening in front of his eyes either.
Let's role play. I'll be the child. Mommy, why is that woman have a leash on that man and he's walking on his knees and hands?
Because that's how they like to play. Like, it's not that hard. They're playing a game. Leave it at that. It's just like, okay.
Why has he got that red rubber ball in his mouth?
I've actually had to answer that.
He talks too much and asks too many questions.
You know what?
Hold on. Real quick.
Mommy, what's that stick that woman is wearing? You know.
But no, like, honestly, it's one of those things. Like, I remember several years back, watching the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, and there was a huge fuss because one of the musical numbers that was performed was from the Broadway show Kinky Boots. Now, Kinky Boots, if nobody knows,
remember that.
It's a play, but they also made a movie of it. And essentially, there's this shoe manufacturing company, a small mom and pop type business in the UK, and they're about to go under. Well, a drag queen basically commissions him to make a pair of sturdy boots that could support the weight of a fucking linebacker-sized man on thin little stiletto heels. And because of that, like, it's able to save his company. That's the TLDR of the story. And so in the play, you have a bunch of men dressed as women dancing around in boots, and that was the musical number that they did. And people are like, think of the children. How do you explain it to children? I'm like, well, you can go the G-rated of their actors in costume and not get into anything, you know, further than that. Or you can be a little bit more in depth in that, you know, some grown-up men like to dress up as women, you know, they put on a show that way. Or, you know, you can get further into it and discuss, you know, the difference between drag queens and transgender people. Like, you can have a sliding scale of how much of that conversation you have with a child, but you could literally just keep it at they're actors in costume. That's it. You don't have to get into any more of it if you're not comfortable sharing that with your child.
Though that does lead you into the difficult part if your child encounters a trans person, and then you've got to try to explain that one's not that person's not an actor. So it doesn't. So
here's the thing: as a parent who's actually come across all of those, and you know, because
you don't have that problem with Isaiah. Isaiah's like, yeah, what the fuck ever.
Because I raised him that way. Because he was taught tolerance. Because I took him to pride parades. Because I told him that
mainstreaming, though. Public television put on the production of Kinky Boots. Public television in prime time.
That's awesome. But I've also had, like, there was somebody walking with a furry tail 3 prides ago. Oh, he was such a little kid. And my son asked me, where does that tail go? And I looked at my son dead in his eyes. I said, up his ass. Because it did.
Seen those? They're little butt plugs with tails attached, and they're fucking adorable.
I talk to my son like I tell him I call it speaking real, but I tell my son the truth. Like, don't ask me a question you don't want the answer to, and he knows. But because of that, he's less. It's less of a mystery, so he doesn't even giggle or laugh. He's just like, oh, okay, that's what they do. It's one of those things that
I'm gonna get a hell no out of Will again in a second.
Well, that's like the ancient joke. Mommy, Mrs. Smith had a baby. Where did that baby come from? And mom is all upset. Oh my God, I have the birds and the bees, and goes through this long explanation of the kid about copulation and fertilization and gestation and all this stuff. And little boy's listening, and he says, "Oh, because we're from Chicago, and I was wondering if they came from Chicago too." So
that reminds me of a joke, just a little bit of levity. So this little boy wanted to walk the dog, and the father says, no, you can't because she's in heat. And he insists, I want to walk the dog. So the father's like, okay. He's in the garage. He takes a little rag with a bit of gasoline, puts it on the dog's butt, to try to dissuade other dogs, and lets the kid take him for a walk. Kid comes back later without the dog, and it's like, where's the dog? And is like, Fluffy ran out of gas up the road and another dog's pushing her home. And then the other one is a little boy is in the park with his dad, and he sees two dogs going at it, and he asks, what are they doing? And it's, they're making a puppy. The little boy's like, oh, okay. And then later the little boy walks in on his parents having sex, and he's like, Dad, what are you doing? Oh, we're making a baby. Flip her over, Daddy. I'd rather have a puppy. That was for you, Jenny. I knew you would appreciate those.
I've had to explain in LA, it's not rare to see two young men making out. I've had to explain to my son when he was younger. He's like, hey, what are they doing? And I said, they really, really like each other. And then he saw a man and a woman doing it. And he asked me the same question. I said, they really, really like each other. I normalized it. It's just one of those things. Because my father did the courtesy of not raising me with hatred, I'm just returning the favor and doing the exact same thing.
Exactly.
Because my dad was an engineer. He kind of hated kids. He was a biker, but he went out of his way to make sure that his kids didn't hate the world. And he made sure that we weren't. He made sure to teach us tolerance, and more than tolerance. So, yikes. The problem is that in America right now, they're the powers that be in certain states are going after trans kids because no matter what, they're gonna attack the umbrella, no matter what. And I think people need to remember that, because we lose focus and we get in fights about kink and pride and things like that. But like I said earlier, like, the entire community is under attack again for the millionth time. And it seems like every year they try to chip away at any liberty they can, So that's why you can't give an inch to people about pride, not an inch. Like I said, be gay and do crimes and tell them Godless Sewing sent you. No?
There's states that have
sorry, I was busy
naked
replying
run.
to something else.
There's a state that has
in
a
the
naked
background.
run, where everybody shows up naked and they just run a
Portland.
mile or two. Yeah, and it's not considered a sexual thing. It's not considered deviant. It's just people running without their clothes on.
I think, and that's another thing. We still have the Puritan stain on us in America, where people again are scared of boobs, they're scared of butts, and we're grown ass adults. I think what happens is also, like I said, we're becoming more conservative, and so the younger generation, which is more conservative, is saying, "Oh, but why don't we do this and this?" Forgetting the reason, why we're here in the first place. And the reason why we're here in the first place is to be as eccentric as possible, to remind people that we're not like them.
Yeah. Because it's a celebration of being different, of enjoying things that are different. We should all not be afraid of the people that we are and who we are. In an ideal world, I mean, there was a thing I reposted the other day. Unfortunately, I forgot to put the brackets around a bit, and it totally confused people when I was having a go at the stupid ass question that Keemstar asked about. Should trans women have to tell somebody that they're going out on a date with that they're trans up front? And my response
to be fair,
my response was meant to be, and it didn't necessarily come across this way to people, was should assholes like Keemstar have to tell people that they're a prejudiced prick before they go on a date with somebody? Because that's what it comes down to. If you've got prejudices, it's up to you to voice those prejudices up front. And it shouldn't be up to the trans person to put themselves in fucking danger to you. Because this comes down to the same... Oh, can I finish, please, John? This comes down to the same fucking thing of, women shouldn't wear short skirts because you're promoting you getting yourself raped. Well, that's just fucked up. It's never the person's fault who gets hurt. It's the fault of the person who does the hurting. So if you're a fucking dickhead who might hurt a woman, maybe tell somebody that you got kind of dickhead up front.
I forgot to bring that up. That's such a valid point that I'm throwing my fingers around. Yeah, I forgot to bring that up.
Jenny bring her point up because she asked.
Sorry, Jenny. Sorry.
I was just gonna say real quick about this thing they have to tell ahead of time. Look, it's this het white dude. If you can't tell the difference, if you can't feel the difference, you got no business getting to know whether it is or not. Okay? If you can't tell the difference,
and I think
then you don't deserve to know. Period.
Absolutely. No, I agree with you. And quite honestly, the insecurity is always with the guy. Because most men would get with a trans woman. I said it. Godless sewing, get me in the DMs, I'll ignore you. Or I might debate you.
Well, do you know what the dumb part is?
People are scared as hell because they're insecure as hell.
Well, this comes down to the actual thing of most trans women who get murdered by men after having sex is after having sex with them. So they meet them, they have sex, and then they kill them. So they have the sex anyway. It's their fucking guilt shit afterwards because, fuck them. They're horrible people. And
that's what I'm saying. They were
that are the problem, not the trans people. So fuck off.
And those are the same people who want to comment on Pride and say it's too kinky and all of this because they're ashamed of themselves. Again, it goes back to the self-hating people and the controlling. In no other circumstance would you be able to walk up to somebody and be like, "Hey, you can't do that here. You can't." And you wouldn't do that in normal life. So why are you trying to do that to someone's pride? Man, we have opened the door and let the shitstorm has just come down the street. Stay away from Pride if you don't want to go. If you don't want to see some hairy guy's butt, don't go to Pride. Bears are amazing too. If you don't want to see a bear's ass, don't go to Pride. Oh, I came to fight today. I came to fight. I'm not scared of none of you MFers.
Well, it's in a way, and this is more of my talking. But, as LGBT people, and particularly as trans people, we have talked about sex our entire lives. We are very used to it. It does not upset us. It does not bother us.
We also have a lot better understanding about biology and gender and sex than most cis people do. Because we have to.
Well, exactly. And so I feel like I have to keep that in mind that me and my community are so fucking advanced compared to the straight folks.
Yes, because
On
you
this
have to.
topic.
That's why I was saying earlier why they hate us is because we know who we are, and it shows. That's why society hates people under the umbrella, because you know who you are, Jenny. People hate you for it because they don't know who they are. You know.
I love my boobs.
I don't know boobs too.
I'm pro boob.
Pro boob.
I'm
We're
pro
all-
boobs.
Everybody on this panel
They're
is pro
great.
boob.
Boobs are fucking great.
Hey,
They're fun to
the
play
interesting
with.
thing about
Another
is
Emergency
here
flotation
everybody.
devices, pillows.
And that's another thing. Like, hey, if you like boobs, go to Pride. You'll see a ton of boobs.
And if you like
No,
pigs,
they'll
they'll
be
be probably see a ton of them too.
Well, they'll be unobtainable boobs because those particular boobs want nothing to do with you if you look like me. But I'm just saying, there's a ton of boobs at Pride.
And just a quick side note here while we're talking about all this. You know what's on my TV here out in rural Wisconsin, Minnesota? The Toma tractor pull.
Traction engine rally.
Oh, good lord!
See, that's what they should do in the UK. They should combine their traction engine rallies with Pride. Then everyone will go.
Yeah, because those farm guys really like each other.
They do.
I'm looking at you in certain places.
And
Brokeback
some
Mountain
of them some of
wasn't
them
just a
should
movie.
would be into furries, I'm pretty sure.
Hey, I like farm girls.
Oh, I'm not farm shaming. I'm just saying, you know,
I know.
when you come out the closet, we have nothing but hugs and cookies on the dark side. Nothing but
to clue the people in and chat. The woman I have met recently and have fallen madly in love with owns a farm, and it's my future if it works out. It's be slinging hash to horses and dogs and goats and all kinds of animals. Never mind. Move on.
No, you're smiling again.
Yeah.
You're smiling. There's nothing wrong with that.
Hot, sweaty, strong woman. You can't beat them.
Oh, it is so hot and sweaty here too. That's another thing. Stay away from my hot and sweaty Pride. If you don't want to see a bunch of oily people having a good time who are wasted by 3 o'clock in the afternoon, don't go to Pride then. You know, I don't go to tractor pulls.
And I'm sure
There's plenty of other pulling within the LGBTQ community.
That's
a different.
Try to do a mixed event of tractor pull and Pride Fest.
So here
I have a
in
question,
LA,
Jenny, because you're probably the only person being an actual lesbian here. What is it with lesbians who say they hate penis still using penis-shaped implements to excite themselves?
Because there's a big difference between wanting to go to bed with a penis and wanting to get penetrated. Penetration is a sensation. Penis is a lifestyle.
I mean, what else are you gonna shove up in there? Like, it's gonna end up looking really fucking phallic in order to fit. Just
Jenny-
saying.
Jenny,
That's
I'm
true.
putting that on a T-shirt. I'm putting that on a T-shirt. You and I are going in halves. Penis is a lifestyle. I'll wear that one.
No, you have penis is a lifestyle on the front, and it has to be phallic to fit on the back.
Stay away from my Pride. If you don't want to go, you don't have to go. I'm over it. I'm over it. I'm
You're
tired of being
delightfully fucked up, and I
I'm
love it.
tired of being dictated to by a bunch of prudes who don't even look at their own bits, who are worried about my bits, and who I'm with worried about their bits. Stay away from everybody's bits. I'm over it.
Frustrated
I'm
atheist
over
said,
it.
Hot and Sweaty Pride. This is the name of Will's new band.
Like it. I like it.
Oh Lord, what have we done?
And my first album is Bear's Ass at Pride.
And Jeff just added, Jen's all quarter because using ice lollies is unhealthy. Don't you read the news?
Okay, hold on. Well, time out.
No,
Got this. So Hold on. Let's go back to Godless Sewing's couch. Hey, if you're using ice lollies, I'm looking at you, UK. Hold on. I'm looking at you. Stop that. That just screams yeast infection. I'm scared. I'm scared for
You can
everybody.
make them out of water.
Oh my gosh.
You could make them out of water, but yeah, like watch what you use for lube. Like improvised lube will get you in trouble.
Some things the
Just
body
the
can't
same.
get rid of.
Well,
Yeah, there are some things you don't want to be shoving up your cooch. Just
Find a polymer that isn't gonna rip your skin off or give you an infection. Gross.
I know
Again.
somebody who had both the Vicks Vapor Rub and the Vaseline sitting beside the table and reached in the dark.
no! Oh no! Oh no! Camphor and
the
eucalyptus,
mentholated?
that would burn like a bitch.
oh,
I was telling me I was pissing myself laughing. I go, I'm sorry, I know this would have been painful, but fuck, it's funny.
It's funny.
just remember the words water-based silicone, and you should be okay.
Yes.
Stay away from Pride if you're not gonna go. Water-based lubricants. People in dog suits are okay. See, and here's another thing is that we're exceeding people's tolerance. You don't have to go. There's all tons of stuff that I don't get, that I don't participate in. Still to this day, I don't know what Twitch is.
Yeah, Native Atheist, Vaseline is not a particularly good lube. A petroleum-based
No.
Lubricants
It's way
take
too sticky.
such a long time to break down, as they tend to stick around and they give you more chance of getting a yeast
Yeah.
infection.
Avoid petroleum-based products. The stickiness is just
It's
hard to
dreadful.
clean.
It's hard to clean,
just-
and your body struggles to get rid of it afterwards, etc., etc. It's not.
Stop
good.
shoving unsanctioned stuff up your
Yeah, I
hoo-ha.
mean, you wouldn't
Yikes.
want to use you wouldn't want to use motor oil in your ass or your vag. So don't use petrol. Don't.
Let's just put it this way: if you use that, you're going to have to get a bottle brush to clean yourself out.
There's no Jiffy Lube for that one.
And if you get a blockage, you then have to get then have to get a an unblocking plunger. I hear that with constipation.
See, and now I don't want to paint again. I want to come with a disclaimer. Pride is not all about kink. I am defending a small minority that has been attacked again by TERFs and outsiders and people that have no business talking about it in the first place. What happens at Pride usually during the day is people come out to love each other, smile, and they come out there literally just to be gay. Everybody just comes out there to be gay and be like, hey, we're all under the same damn umbrella. Let's all be happy.
Okay.
And then we smile at the hate preachers. Then at 4:00, everybody takes their pants off.
Keep it gay, keep it gay, keep it gay. Fucking
I
producers.
just have to say that Matt can't avoid throwing science facts at us. Apparently, interesting chemistry fact, one of the polymers used in personal lube can be used to make massive bubbles, and he tried that at his university's open day. Now, I think that's just excellent. You've got kids coming up to the desk and they want you to try out bubbles, and you're squeezing a bottle of KY into the. Oh, that's brilliant! I love it.
I don't want to scare anyone towards Pride. Go have fun, make Pride whatever you want it to be, but just don't harp on the old guys who want to show their nalgas off. That's all. Let's just all have a consideration for each other, and especially for the kinky people.
And if your kid wants to get those, open chaps, let them.
Hey, does that mean that if you've had anal sex and you've used lube for that, and you then fart after sex, do you create a big bubble out your ass?
That's possible.
Matt, has there been any scientific research done on that?
I guarantee. Oh, you know what? Don't make
Or
me
what
go
about
on.
pussy farts? Queefing.
I was
Yeah.
about to say, don't make me go to the search engine, and you know what search engine I'm talking about, and type in ass farts, because 10,000 videos will pop
Ass
up.
fart bubbles. Ass fart bubbles.
Okay, 100,000 videos will pop up.
And could you do the same thing with a queef?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You know, and all right,
No.
I'll stop bringing up Pride. Stay away from Pride if you don't want to go. Kink
I
on
just
Pride.
asked if we got
Kink is
money
okay.
for a grant. I don't know. Is it worth looking to see if we could get a grant for this? Because this would be an amazing scientific paper to publish.
I think in every stream, I'm gonna start wearing assless chaps. In every stream from now on. I have been going crazy on Amazon lately. And for some reason, leather's really cheap right now. Maybe because it's Pride Month, I don't know. Maybe Amazon clocked me. No, I order a lot of stuff, and so, you know, Amazon will be like, hey, this is for sale, or hey, you're a weirdo who bought this, so you might like these straps, or hey, you need this for your ceiling, or, you know, Amazon clocks you.
I went to Walgreens today, and they were all out of lube.
It's mating season.
Pride. But I do have a ton of paracord. You can make some really intricate patterns with enough paracord.
Hang on, what's paracord and ass bubbles got to do with each other?
Absolutely nothing. Just going back to the kink thing.
Okay, sorry.
Then again.
No, and another
I
reason
mean-
why I keep on hammering this, though, is because people like Posey Parker, the mainstream media, these idiots are all chiming in on Pride when they're sitting on their ass at home when people are out marching, having a good time at Pride. Like, get over yourself. Just because you have a platform doesn't mean you have to hate everything, you know? Stay away from my Pride.
But by the way, if you're into kinky ass bubbles made from lube and farting, you are allowed at Pride.
Oh, they'll make a whole float for you.
Yeah,
Ass,
yeah, the
face
bubble
down,
float.
ass up.
You have you can have the women who want to queef them, or in stereo, queef and fart. You know.
Boy, if you're gonna blow ass bubbles, those would like burn really good, wouldn't they?
This stream is so getting taken down.
Yeah.
This is
We
the best.
may as well get Stall on now and have him sing.
Oh, this is the greatest WTF ever.
I never thought when we started this we'd end up talking about queef bubbles.
And I was in a horrible, foul breath, awful mood, and look at me now.
Nerdy just said all three bubbles at once or go home. My problem with that is that all three bubbles at once would rely on you putting lube in your mouth. And interesting
Some edible
sex
lubes
fact.
that aren't too bad.
Yeah, most lubes don't taste great.
I'm allergic to everything, and they're gross. I did taste one that was like sour apple that did taste like Jolly Ranchers.
I had a watermelon one that tasted like Jolly Rancher.
Frustrated Atheist said, Hot and Sweaty Pride's first album is called Lube Based Queef Bubbles.
Yeah.
When I get
That needs to be a thing.
Yeah, right.
When I get a fresh supply, I always squirt it all out, mix it with some lemon zest, and then put it back in the tube.
Nope.
That's the real reason you go to the doctor once a month, huh?
Lemon
Scary.
scented. For that bit of lemon
Lemony fresh.
freshness after sex.
So
Better than
commercial.
Lysol.
I bought some
Commercialization
cola
is-
flavored lube once.
Oh, that's another thing.
Don't.
Lube
I'll
companies.
just say
Lube
don't.
companies. Lube, and I'm more specifically talking about the LA area. Lube companies. Stay away from Pride. You don't care. You just happen to be part of the community because a certain community buys more lube than any other community.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
Okay,
They're another corporation that is sponsoring Pride this year, and it made me want to throw up a little bit.
So I was an edgy teen, and I loved Hot Topic and Spencer's, and I had come up with this idea, and I had to find, like, I still want to do it just for the lulz. I got to find a chemist that can help me formulate a liquid that when it touches saliva, it kind of gums up a bit. So it would have to be like a creamy liquid that turns into like a gum texture once you squirt it in your mouth, because it would come in a penis-shaped tube and it would be cum gum for when you can't get your oral protein injection. I wanted to do this since high school. I may have issues.
Patent pending. Patent pending. If anyone steals Kinky Kitty's idea, I will sue you. Patent pending. Patent pending. That's $1 billion. That's $1 billion idea.
Investors would fucking sell the shit out of that.
That's $1 billion idea.
Especially to those people who own the kind of vibrator that can squeeze the balls and stuff comes out.
Oh, Phil just said there's a curry flavored line of lube, and how could you do that without it being actually hot on your? Oh no.
Well, actually, they might be able to do that, because if you think about it, there's that one computer thing that it squirts, like it takes all the, it has like a cartridge of different chemical compounds or like chemical markers. Like smells essentially, and it squirts it in your mouth, and like it makes it taste like a juicy apple. I remember seeing like a documentary talking about that.
Okay, I remember the one for the paintable smells, where they basically a large variety of smells they brought down to about 20 different cartridges that give you base smells, and you can mix things together to make other smells. So if you're playing a game, you just put in the right sets of cartridges. I think you can take 8 at a time, and when you're playing VR games, it makes the room smell the way it's
No, this was something for edible.
Yeah.
It's something for edible. Like you
wow.
literally, you bit down on the thing and it squirted the stuff in your mouth, and the guy said it tasted like an apple, and it was just chemical compounds, like they're isolated.
Generally, the chemical compounds that the whole thing about a curry taste is that it's also hot, because the heat of the curry taste is part of the taste. So,
but you could probably get the pepper or maybe the
you'd
meat
actually
taste.
have to, yeah.
I mean, you'd have like coconut and meat and like peppers, like just like that earthiness and tomatoes.
I think
probably
almond
get there.
joys. I think almond joys are disgusting.
Yeah, the problem though is if
Absolutely.
you had a lube that was too tasty, you might bite the penis.
We're getting the echo again.
I do not want any vaginal lubricant to have a Colville rating. Okay.
Yeah. I don't want it to be USDA certified beef flavored. Gross. I don't even like what they're doing to potato chips. Don't change lube. If it doesn't smell like strawberries, get the F out.
Chocolate.
That's too exotic. I'm a Puritan.
It should taste like cherry.
Don't use
There's
chocolate
no
as a
fish.
lube either. Melted chocolate is not a lubricant.
So dog gets comment of the night. There's no fish flavored lube. I've looked. I love you, dog.
Back when I was in high school, we all went to homecoming, and then we went to a place called Steak and Shake, which it's a fast food restaurant around here. They do burgers, fries. It's like a 50s style looking diner on the inside, and they have milkshakes. So there's like 10 of us sitting at the table, and my sister and her best friend are being cute, pretending to steal each other's cherries. And of course, I look at my milkshake and realize I didn't have a cherry, so I make this big deal of, I don't have a cherry. I don't think I ever had a cherry. And I go all melodramatic. Fucking high school had its moments where it was pretty great.
Hey, dog, you are wrong, by the way. There is lubricant that smells like fish, but it can generally be cured.
Nope.
If it smells like fish, can you smoke it?
Okay, Jenny said it first. If it smells like fish, you need to run like Forrest Gump, get better standards. Yeah, I said it, and stay away from Pride too. I'm so tired of all these gatekeepers. Do you know what's happening?
There was a scene like that in a movie, wasn't there? Wasn't it one of the high-flying movies where he walks in and goes, something smells fishy in here, and she goes, I'm sorry.
Ew. I'm so tired of gatekeepers that I've become one. I'm so tired of people saying what you can and cannot do at Pride. I mean, I'm literally going to be standing at the gates of Pride like, all right, you can't go past here unless you're extra gay this year.
You need to show your gay card or you're out.
Oh, I'm over it. I'm over it. And you know, if you want to be a prude and you want to show up like Prudence Goodwife to Pride, I'm no one to judge you. You know, they'll let you in.
I'll judge you if you start judging us, though. Fuck off.
No, but the one thing that is real that we haven't touched on too much, because out here they get cursed out because they don't have numbers. We do get TERFs who do sneak in and try to hand out.
Oh, don't touch.
I know they sneak into Pride and they do try to hand out leaflets, but honestly, it's gone down over the years because no one. Their cause is such BS. I would never show up to an event and be like, "Oh, I'm anti this event," and hand out leaflets. Like, get a life. Get a life.
So does this lead into us talking about the newest science about gametes?
We used to invite the leaflet people into Pride Fest. Come on in. Let's party with us.
Jen, have you read
Have a good time.
the new research on not so much gametes, but on ova and testes?
All right, I'm gonna start smoking because this is a good one.
Okay, so they've been doing scientific research on mice, and there's a particular set of chromosomes. It starts with a P, and I can't remember what it is called, but I'll look it up later because I'm going to do a video on it. But what they've discovered is turning this gene on and off causes a reversal of function of the gonads. So basically, ovaries will turn into testicles, and testicles will turn into ovaries. The ovary will start producing testosterone. The testicle will start producing estrogen. The testes shut down their production of sperm. The ovaries no longer release the eggs that already exist within them. And if you introduce new stem cells to those ovaries or testicles, they will start producing the opposite gamete. So an ovary can effectively be completely turned into a testicle, and a testicle can be turned into an ovary, and this is in adult mice. Not
Checkmate. Hold on. Checkmate, TERFs. Checkmate.
At this point,
game over.
What
Game
gametes
over.
do you produce? Gametes. They think this is the structure that's used by some fish and other animals that change gender, change sex in their life, and it's just a function that we don't do. However, there is an element where it is done, and this is the hilarious bit. For a percentage of women as they get older and get into menopause, the action of that chromosome starts to shut down, and their ovaries start producing testosterone and becoming testicle-like. It never happens fully without the complete shutdown of those chromosomes, but it does happen. So you get an older woman who started to masculinize a bit, and you will find that she most likely has an ovary that's more of a testicle now than an ovary, with all the structures thereof.
I kind of hope that happens to every single TERF. I'm not gonna lie.
That's what I'm thinking. There are so many old TERFs out there who I'm thinking, this has probably happened. And you now no longer have the potential for those gametes. In fact, your potential is the other way, because if you introduce stem cells to it, they would produce the other gamete. So what are you now?
Nah. Hey. I never liked you anyways.
Like, I saw one of my friends arguing with a TERF online, and I posted a tweet, like, response, and I'm like, to sum it up, it was basically, like, arguing with TERFs online is like smashing your face into a concrete wall. It's painful and pointless, because no amount of conversation is going to change their bigoted minds. Unfortunately, TERFs are incredibly fucking dogmatic.
Oh, they'll just change their goalposts again. Because this research will eventually lead to the changing of gamete function, or of gonad function for trans people. But they will then change it. It's your sex is the gamete production you had at birth. But the TERFs of today are scum-sucking parasites who act like children. Did you see what they did to Aunt Jer's
post on Twitter?
Assholes.
Scum-sucking, disgusting people. Absolutely disgusting people.
I missed. What exactly did they do?
I have great props for Andrea. Andrea last year made a video where she got permission from a group of trans people who've done 12 wearing a dress. The spinny video. And props to her. She was doing it as a celebration of womanhood for these trans women. And it was a beautiful idea. Some TERF found that, tagged it out to all these other TERFs, and within 5 hours they'd flooded her stream with horrible, horrible comments.
Within 5 hours, 110 people with no lives absolutely destroyed a post from a year ago. Or 2 years, or whenever.
No, it was a year
Losers.
ago. It was
losers. They're just complete. But that's what I'm saying. They're parasites because they don't have a stance. It's "I hate you" is their stance.
Yeah,
it's
not
worse
real.
than that. No, it's worse than that because, like, if you look in the UK and in the US, these TERF groups are funded by fucking right-wing religious groups. Like, they say that they're about the safety of women and they're pro-women because, you know, they're lesbians, they're feminists, etc., etc. Yet they're funded, and they take the funding from things like the Heritage Foundation, which they want to limit a woman's right to choose. They are against same-sex marriage or same-sex adoption. So all these fucking lesbian TERFs out here are literally doing a dumb by fucking siding with people against their own self-interest just because they don't
with the
like
TERFs.
trans people.
I did see the discussion that was happening in DMs about that, and I saw at one point one of the TERFs or somebody commented that heterosexual women or biological women, I think they used, would never do this. Would never do this spinny thing. Well, kids,
they've never left their. They've never left
their fucking house.
Yeah.
When I was little, my mom would take me shopping with her when she went to the dress shop, and I cannot tell you how many times I've seen women come out of the dressing room, go in front of that threefold mirror, and do a spinny.
or have an entourage with them to do the spinny in front of. It is normal. It is absolutely normal. These women obviously order all their clothes online and never have been and tried out an item of clothing in a shop. I have used a camera to make sure that it looks as good from behind as it does from the front. This is a thing. People do this.
If you wear a skirt, not only is the color and the fabric and the pattern important, but how it moves is a major part of the design of it, of the appreciation of it, by both the person who's wearing it and the people who are looking at it. It's completely normal to do a spinny.
My 70-something-year-old mom will still do a spinny because she's like, you will pay attention to me. She'll do a spinny right in front of you so you praise her.
So it's not something just little kids do.
Yeah, it's a thing.
It's a thing grown-ass women do. Not all of us. I mean, I will admit, I can't remember the last time I did a spinny, but I will go and look at my outfit in a mirror, and I'll make sure it looks good if I'm going out somewhere special.
And you know what? I have a Harry Potter cloak. Let me tell you, when I got my Harry Potter cloak home, I did a spinny and took pictures. I put them on Twitter, and I put it on Twitter too. Go dig through my Twitter; it's on there. So the TERFs can go stuff themselves.
There is no different. Kitty took pictures of the costume that she made and sent them to us so we could see. That was virtually like a spinny, because even though it wasn't a video footage, we could see it from each angle.
See, but again, the TERFs, what happens is the TERFs will grab on something that really is just an everyday thing that means nothing to except for the person who's actually doing it. They overblow the issue, and then another TERF grabs onto it. They're like a pack of wild dogs, scum-sucking wild dogs.
Who have never been to a fashion show.
or a pride event in their life. Stay away from my pride event and a fashion show.
They always have to attack the trans woman for how she looks. And yet I've seen pictures of most of these TERFs. I'm just saying.
No, but again, it is projected. It's self-hatred, and they have to project it on everybody else. What is hatred? It's the pathological descent into violence. They're literally sitting around obsessing over it, thinking about trans women and trans men and, oh, my lost lesbian sisters. They have no lives. Honestly, let's come sit on Godless Sewing couch again. Do you know when the computer turns off, I take my boots off and I go sit in my backyard and I smoke a J clothed because the kid's here, and I mind my own business.
And like it says in Taylor Swift's Pride Anthem,
Oh, I know exactly what.
that we all know now that we all wear crowns. You can't you can't deny that your husbands aren't out there going, "Holy cow, she's hot! Ooh, baby."
And you know what happens too? You know what happens too is that a lot of these organizations, they don't realize they're going to have a fight on their hands. It's not 1954. It's not 1972. I will fight you. I'll go to court. I have court clothes and money for a lawyer.
I will add another thing to the spinny thing. Any woman who has asked her boyfriend or husband, "Does my ass look big in this?" has effectively done a spinny.
Yeah, exactly. Again, they're overblowing.
My Ren costumes, I will do a fucking spin. Or if I wear a circle skirt, like I don't wear skirts often, but when I do, I want them to swoosh like Belle in the library scene. Like,
oh, I have an amazing.
swooshness matters.
I have an amazing ass. All the time, I have full body mirrors in my room. All the time, I just walk in there and I'm like, "Yep, still got it," and I just walk out. I don't know if you call that a spinny, but you know, it's just reminding myself it hasn't sagged down completely yet.
And it's like, honestly, if she wasn't a public figure, I guarantee you, like most of these TERFs or fucking cishet white dudes that are very turfy in their fucking bigotry towards trans people, they would look at Blair White and they would not clock her as trans. They would just see someone who is really, really hot until she opens her mouth, at least for me. Like, she's attractive, very attractive. And then she opens her mouth and it ruins it. But, you know, like, they wouldn't...
You want to get an attitude adjustment about that. Go onto Reddit and track down the Reddit group. What's the name? Shit. It's trans selfies or selfies trans, something along that line.
Those before and after ones.
Well, yeah, some are before and after, and some are just like, "Hey, look at me, I'm 2 years HRT and blah blah blah."
I don't mind those. It's before and after.
There are some young women on that will just make you drop your damn jaw. They're just so freaking beautiful. It's shocking.
There are some trans people that don't pass well. But ultimately, you know, that doesn't change the fact of the matter that they are the gender they claim to be. Like, trans women are women, regardless of whether, you know, a person can clock them or not. Like, I mean, not everyone is... Like, hell, there are fucking cis people that don't pass for, you know... There are cis women and cis men that, you know, their features are much more the opposite gender. So, like, a person might see them and think, "Oh, they're trans," when they're actually not. But when it comes down to it, like, it just comes down to human decency. Whether you have somebody that you cannot tell is trans or someone that you think might be, like, just treat them like a human being. Like treat them with respect.
Yeah, your point here, Kitty, is it doesn't matter. It shouldn't matter.
Exactly.
This shit shouldn't matter because no one should actually care. The only time it matters is if... And it goes back to that fucking dumbass Keemstar thing. Is if you're in a long-term relationship with somebody and there's issues coming off that could be... that's the only time it could possibly ever matter. If this is just somebody you deal with in your normal everyday life, treat them as a human being, respect their pronouns, and don't be a dick.
I think what happens too is that we have an entire generation of really insecure, disenfranchised men who have this idea, this like unreal idea of what it is to be a man, and they feel like less of if they get with a trans woman, or they admit that they're bisexual, or they admit that they're gay or whatever, you know.
But the thing is, how is it even a bisexual relationship if
No. But what I'm saying is,
I know.
There's a lot of straight guys who are really just closeted, and they take that out on people for the rest of their lives. So
Well,
again, let's go sit on the godless couch.
And I think sometimes
Well,
that's the same problem with some
Sorry.
women as well. Sorry, Jenny.
What's that, Jenny?
Well, what do you think goes on in cishet men's head when they see a woman that they're just absolutely gaga over, and then find out that they're a trans woman? What do you think? What do you think ticks in their head?
You know what? That actually, when I was younger, that actually happened to me, and I said, "Cool." But I know not everyone's like me. I know not everyone is like me. So the average person, they feel like less of a man because they especially in LA. I dare you to come to LA and tell me you could clock a trans woman. I dare you. I dare you to. But anyways, I because I'm biased, I think a lot of it is people are not okay with themselves. And then they get with a trans woman. They have a great time. All of a sudden, you're free, and then comes the guilt, the self-hatred, the societal pressure, the unreal constructs that we live under. Like, I could care less. You know, my real rule is whatever. Just wash your hands. You know, honestly, whatever. Just be whoever you want. Just wash your hands and don't be a dirtbag.
Exactly.
Like, we complicate things too much.
Gay panic and trans panic should never be a thing.
At all.
Ever.
Because quite honestly, we're dehumanizing people. We're saying that a trans woman is less than, and that's bullshit.
And if
saying,
you get with somebody,
it's bullshit.
If you get with somebody and you're having a good time and you get back and you start getting on the naked and you discover that the person's got bits that you don't like, it's fine to have genital preferences. Despite what some people say, having a genital preference is perfectly fine, and I don't think it's bigoted to have one. But you get to that point, it's down to you to be honest about that and to back away from the situation and do it fucking nicely. Don't be a dick.
And let's be real. Like Jenny said earlier, most people know. This whole, I didn't know. Like, you know what situation you're getting yourself into. And even if you're quote-unquote surprised, be a decent person and effing say, okay, all's fair in love and war, and walk away.
Unless, of course, you're just looking for a one-night stand. If you've been dating a person for a while, you're gonna know. Even if they haven't told you. No one perfectly passes forever. Especially, unless, of course, you hide all of your family from them.
That depends on the person. I had this friend, her and I were friends for like almost 10 years. And I'd never talked about being trans or anything with her. And something came up and I made a comment, and then she realized, oh, you're trans. And she just said, well, why do you want to be a guy?
Yeah, I'm not saying with the people we meet every day, because you and I, Jen, both know that happens. There's lots of people in our lives who have no idea that we're trans, and mostly it's none of their fucking business. But if you're in a relationship with somebody and you've had that closeness, they're meeting family, you're getting a bit passionate now and then, they're gonna know. They're gonna figure it out at that point.
What I was trying to point out is that. Yes, there's a lot of very beautiful trans women who you would never clock. There's also a lot of really homely ones like me that you'll never clock because we're damn good at it.
And we came to fight tonight. We were not playing on the What the Fuck show at all tonight. We are the four horse people of the apocalypse. The gay apocalypse.
and apparently Matt's just said he's hard, but he's getting there. Sorry, Matt.
So if you're hard for longer than 4 hours, I think it's called privism, and you should go see a doctor.
Privism, and yes, you need to see a doctor. And if it's really bad, they have to shove a needle in your dick and drain out the blood.
So when I was a kid, anytime after midnight, it was nothing but call girl ads and Viagra commercials.
I'll do that job, Kitty. Take that.
No one takes 4 hours. No, if it's a man, that's gonna be so painful. Almost a doctor, that's gonna be so painful. It was up for 4 hours. I would be crying. Jeff Foxworthy told a joke about how he would wear a bathrobe and be like, "Hey, look at what happened when he's in the doctor." No, you would be in so much pain, you'd be in a wheelchair in tears. If your member was up for 4 hours, the amount of blood that it takes to keep it stiff for that long, you would be in pain. Don't take too many pills, kids.
Corpus cavernosa, yes.
Yeah, I mean,
and if you're
as much as anybody might say, "Oh, I'd love to have sex," I had a partner who had an awful lot of staying power, and we did a weekend marathon. We did sleep in between because we had to, and by the end of that weekend, I could not walk. So no. Don't do this.
Again, it's people are just insecure. Be yourself. Be kinky at Pride. I'm gonna be at Pride. I'm gonna have a sign this year. I'm gonna walk past all the hate preachers, and it's just gonna say, "Be extra gay, 2021. Keep it gay." Over it. I think also, like I've said a million times, is we've allowed all these corporations to creep in, and what happens when the corporations they start paying for things, and then all of a sudden they have say. So we need to be as kinky as possible, because one day they're going to completely take it all away anyways, because the corporations are going to have say.
Gay is not okay. It's fab.
John Barrowman got canceled. That means he won't be at West Hollywood this year. He'll be sulking in his mansion. Really? I'm telling you, because he was a hero that I've actually met face to face and was a positive person to me. I'm not listening to any of it.
I wonder
He's
if
not
he has
OJ
ADHD
Simpson
because he likes getting his penis out.
Will, could you ask Alexa something?
Okay.
Could you ask her if the Milwaukee Bucks won tonight, please?
Alexa, what's the score of the Milwaukee Bucks basketball game?
On March 14th, the Bucks and Warriors game was canceled.
March 14th? We don't care about March 14th.
You got to warm her up. Alexa, what was the score tonight for the Milwaukee Bucks?
You've always got to warm her up. Well, if you don't warm me up, it's not going to happen.
They won. Alexa,
Oh, good. Okay.
thank you. They won. They smoked them.
You're welcome.
It's going to Game 7. Cool.
Enjoy your night.
It's because you guys have that Greek guy with that name I can't pronounce on the team.
Oh, Greek god.
Yeah, I can't.
Oh, Greek guy. Sorry.
Okay, good. I know it's not.
I just call him the Greek guy.
Some of the, as you know, hey, this is a disclaimer to all of our people out there. Americans are really bad at English. I apologize. So when we say that Greek guy, we're literally talking about a millionaire. So we're not saying anything derogatory. We're talking about someone who gets paid lots of money. Jenny, do they still have the Harley Davidson logos on the jerseys?
I don't know what logos they have on their jerseys.
Oh, I want one so bad, just because it has the Harley logos. Because the NBA got smart and started telling the truth that they're sponsored by companies.
Yeah, but Harley is fucking awful. My sister worked for Harley Davidson in Daytona Beach, and not only did they not protect their employees, they had Bike Week. They didn't enforce a mask mandate, and dozens of their employees got COVID, and some of them even ended up in ICU, and they didn't even bother to call to check on them to see if they were okay or not.
That's disgusting. It's because COVID was political, and they had to be all righty about it. That's disgusting.
Yeah, fuck Harley.
Harley's well known for not really caring too much about employees.
Yep.
The union has to kick ass up in Milwaukee, and even the union has started to lay down to the company.
Yeah, there's no unions in fucking Florida. It's a right-to-work state.
But I have this Harley emblem from their 95th anniversary
Yeah.
that I have been offered $1,000 for.
Was that?
Holy
Because
crap.
it was on one bike for a period of months, and then it was discontinued because it was just a 1-year celebration, and I happen to have one, and I've been offered that much for it, and I think I'm going to sell it one of these days.
Yeah, it's good money, Jen.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm a capitalist. You said thousands of dollars. My ears went. I
I
instantly perched up.
Jen, you got to be
Sell
really
it.
careful because he's a freaking picker, and if you offer him something rare and unusual, he'll probably offer to buy it from you. You might have a sale already.
No, Jenny, I like you. Find somebody. I'll undercut you and then sell it for 3 times more. I'm telling you the
He
truth.
won't.
I
won't,
like
because
you.
when he buys things he likes, he never gets rid of them. He bought all these
That's how
comic
the
books
business
worth
goes.
a fortune and then kept them because he likes comic books. You know, the
I-
fountain in his backyard was a pick that he kept because he likes the fountain. So if he bought it,
Well,
he'll probably keep it.
I have a set of front turn signal assemblies for a BMW 2002, 1968 to 1972.
Oh wow.
Okay, and they were built in the 70s.
Oh
Late-
wow.
So these are like exactly correct for the originals. Okay, and they're in the box.
Oh wow.
And I know I can get $600 a piece for the damn things.
That's like when Jen told me how much Apple IIe's were worth. I put a mask on. I called my mom and I was like, I'm coming over. And I went in the attic. I pulled the monitor down. I'm looking at it. I still have an Apple IIe printer with the box. With the original box.
Ooh.
And I found the receipt too. Because my dad was really weird about stuff like that. He always kept it close.
I have a 15-inch. That's the extra wide carriage image writer one.
Ox wants
Very,
you to
very-
ask Alexa if it's LGBTQ plus friendly.
Well,
Alexa, are you LGBTQIA plus friendly?
That was the days when the Apple logo was rainbow color.
Oops. Alexa, are you LGBTQIA plus friendly?
Sorry, I'm not sure.
I don't know if we can live together anymore.
What did she say?
She said she's not sure. Well, I'm not sure if I like robots anymore. How about that?
You're not sure if you like her box anymore.
I might walk through and water this entire desk.
Well, she says she's not sure. Why don't you just ask her if she's gay?
Oh no, Jenny always pops out at the good part.
She said, can you ask her if she's gay?
Oh, I gotta wait for Jenny to
Yeah,
pop
wait
back
till Jenny
in.
gets back in. I wonder what would happen if you asked Google that. I don't have my Google set up.
Are you ready? Okay. Alexa, are you gay?
I just think of everyone as friends.
So she's ace.
She's ace.
Respect it. Respect it. Alexa's under the umbrella. Thank you, Alexa. The A word is under the umbrella. Respect it. And you know what? Everyone take your A word to Pride. Walk around with your Alexa. Thank you, Alexa. I'm over it. Stop coming for Pride. Let people be gay for one day. Let them be gay for one day. What is wrong with people being gay, walking around with the assless John Wayne and the guy with the handlebar mustache? There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Lesbians on motorcycles, as far as the eye can see. Great times. Great times.
That's an old
And I don't see why you
stereotype.
can't. People.
No, it's
we have
not.
Pride Month, we have Pride parades, we have all that. But we should live in a world where people can be proud of this stuff. Oh yeah, well, there shouldn't be an element of you're one of those. No, fuck off
is
with
an
your
old
attitude.
stereotype.
Go fuck off. If people are not hurting other people apart from under consensual situations, fuck off.
The dykes on bikes, they come like 50 to 75 deep, and no one talks trash to them, to the LA
no,
Pride.
I know they didn't go away, but the new stereotype is in a Subaru Outback with a U-Haul trailer.
Oh, that's so true. You said it. I didn't. You said it. I didn't. I
Did
get
you just
canceled if I
describe
said
purple?
that. She drives a Geo Metro. Respect it. Ford forever. I have 3 Fords sitting in front of my house.
So Native Atheist is going to go down the thing. I don't think we'll bring that one up, Trans in Sports, because it's got nothing to do with Pride. It really doesn't have absolutely anything to do with Pride. But I am planning on doing a science stream on that, and I think we'll also do a What the Fuck show on it as well at some point.
That's a whole other fight. I'm going to come with my jersey on.
Bring it up now. I have brought it up on other streams at various times, and even on some of these. But I think it's something where, I'd like to have more than just me and Jenny in here talking about it if we're going to do it. And I think it's one of those things where I'd also probably drag in an actual biologist, someone like Lizzie Lang or someone like that, to actually give some background so that we actually know where this is coming from. Even Scientist Mel, someone like that, who's Scientist Mel did an absolutely brilliant video on this actually, and I was in the after part of the show where I gave some other points to it as well. So you could go check that out. I will be doing a stream of this on Schrodinger's bathtub at some point, and we will probably also cover the same topic.
So
on the show.
Robert X has a question. Does a translator need to be trans?
Oh, God.
I don't care who.
Fail. That doesn't even get a golf clap. There's no biscuits for that question.
I don't care who lays me. They can be straight or trans. It doesn't matter.
And that's another thing. TERFs, stay away from Pride. Hold on, let's go down the list. Because I'm not letting this one go. No, because I actually go to Pride. Yeah, I really did too. I did walk in here kind of kinky and angry at the same time.
You did.
But anyways, like I said, it's something that's close to my heart because at the core of it, it's people having a good time and celebrating who they are. And being able to finally be who they are. People drive from all around the state, super repressed just to come to West Hollywood and let themselves go for a couple hours. There's nothing wrong with that, and that needs to be protected. And I will fight you.
Sad to think about.
It is.
Oh, so dogs and Ox's Alexas are responding when we're saying, "Hey Alexa."
That's why it's better when I have my headphones on, because whenever you do say the A word, whenever we're sitting here, it turns right on. It turns right on. Because she's always listening.
Some
Hey,
women,
Alexa.
some women go 0 to 60 really fucking quickly. She's just one of them.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey Alexa, play Bohemian Rhapsody.
Oh, I got my headphones on.
I know you do, but they don't.
I can't even say that out loud. If I said it out loud, then the stream would really get shut down immediately.
Alexa, order some pizzas.
Oh, I learned that with Jenny when she asked the A word to fart, and it farted for like 3 minutes, and I didn't know how to turn it off. I learned that day. That was like the second day I had it.
I still kind of want one, although I actually would rather the Google one because my son knows how to use that one. Because there's a Google whatever at my family's house. So when my son gets there, as soon as he walks in the door, he'll be like, "Okay, Google, turn on living room light," and then it'll be like, "Okay, Google, turn living room light aqua," or
cool.
purple, or whatever. And there's a special light bulb they have in there that will change different colors. And he fucking loves it.
I am going to make a public admission here. I have been an Apple loyalist since 1984, and I probably will die being an Apple loyalist. But Alexa has absolutely kicked the shit out of Siri. Siri is an absolute stick in the mud. You can't even say fuck in front of Siri without her getting upset.
I've
So
got
if you
people
ask
that-
Siri
we have
what
we have the chat singing Bohemian Rhapsody.
That's great. If you ask Siri, what, at least it worked the last time I tried it, what the what was it, the average airspeed velocity of an unladen swallow is, she'll actually respond with African or European.
Oh, that's brilliant! I love
Yeah,
that.
she does. She does have a few good lines here and there. I don't know if she'll work with SteamYards. Probably won't. Hey Siri. No, she won't work with that. She knows when you're on video and doesn't want interrupted. So
There are a few lines, like, or if you ask what's the answer to life, the universe, and everything, she'd say 42.
you have a phone? Ask Siri to fart. Watch what happens.
Really?
Try it.
Hey Siri, fart.
No comment.
She's so fucking, well, mine has got a British accent, so she's even more posh, but that kind of makes sense.
What did she say?
No comment.
Yeah, she's a stick in the mud.
Hey Siri, you're boring. Alexa is better. Ah, didn't pick it up. Hey Siri, you're boring. Alexa is better.
Is there something else I can help with?
Just ignore me completely.
I'm not sure.
Hey Google, do you like Pride?
Hey, Jen's little corner. How can I help?
Hey Google, do you like Pride?
Alexa,
Nothing.
when's the next Los Angeles Pride event?
Yes, Google, right answer.
Oh, I'm not sure about that.
Okay, so to go back to my rant, they are charging for Pride this year in Los Angeles, and I know they're doing that for a reason, because of COVID, and it's to deter the thousands of people who can't afford it, the millions of people who probably can't afford it. Aww, your green screen is kind
I
of
know, but you can
mashing
still read
it up.
But she even put the pride flag up when I asked the question. She is so cool.
I'm
I
just
know what her
over.
answer is.
Nerdy said it the
Google,
best. It's capitalist
gay?
pride. It's BS.
Jen, I do like the fact that you ironed your pride flags.
Oh, Google beats Alexa's answer. Are you gay? I've got a lot of love for everyone. Google is pansexual.
Well, the A word is ace, and you will respect Alexa's life choices.
Oh
Thank you,
no, I'm
Alexa.
fine with that. We have two beautiful assistants here. One who's pan and one who is ace, and that is
Both
representation.
are umbrella.
So
They're
what's
under
Siri
the
say?
umbrella, and I love it.
Stuck up.
Does Siri actually answer that question?
Hey Siri, are you gay?
I don't have a sexual orientation.
What's hey,
What-
Another ace? I mean,
another ace? Maybe.
Another
Siri?
ace, maybe?
Are you gay?
I'll give Siri ace. Like, I mean,
We'll give Siri ace. Yeah.
You know, it's funny. Mine's like one
I
moment.
don't have a sexual orientation.
like
So-
it
so-
had to check to make sure it was on brand.
What did?
Yeah, I
Siri,
have a guy's voice. My Siri is a guy. Judge me. Judge me.
What does Siri say about pride though?
Hey Siri, what are your feelings on Pride?
Siri, do you celebrate Pride Month?
I don't have an answer for that.
Let's celebrate. Try asking me to play Pride Radio.
That's a non-answer, and it's just a
Yeah,
plug
that's
for
a
something I don't
non-answer.
care about.
See, I mean,
Total.
at least
Okay,
Google's
see-
one was like, I celebrate all sexualities with a pride flag. That is
Okay, so-
the way to do it.
So here in LA, it's ridiculous. I put the picture in a group that I sent a picture to Kitty and Jen. It was basically on the Dodgers mound. They had a pride flag with the LA logo because they know LA is gay as $3 bill, Tiger King gay, but they know their audience, and it kind of made me angry. Because they know most of LA is watching, everybody in a bar is watching, and they're pandering to Los Angeles because we are LGBTQIA friendly here. When
But
I
no-
drive around, Sorry.
The Milwaukee Brewers have a gay logo too.
Okay, so it's probably the entire league.
Yeah, I think MLB made them all do that.
Okay, that's commercialization. You're taking the flag, and I appreciate it. Hey, thanks. And I'm glad that baseball took the All-Star game out of Atlanta. I started watching the Dodgers again because of that.
See, I have to have a different attitude about the corporatization or commercialization of this whole thing. As these states were trying to introduce these bathroom bills and shit, it was corporate America that stood up and said, "No, you're not going to do that, or we're leaving." Okay?
I agree with you. They
stood up for us, and so I'm willing to give them a bunch of leeway right now because we still need their help with this new round of bullshit that's going down. So
valid point. 15 love in Jenny's favor.
Well,
very, very valid point.
I'm going to have to wind this stream up soon because I actually have to go to the doctor's in a little over an hour, and I've got to get organised for that and help. I've got to take Rob as well. So I don't know if Will's planning on, because Pep's not doing a stream today. Are you and Kitty doing a post sewing circle stream?
I don't know.
I'm just asking because I'm not sure what people were planning.
I definitely am down to do something this Saturday, and it'll probably be Sci-Fi Saturday. But you know what? Because if I'm still angry, it might be extra gay Sci-Fi Saturday. So watch out. And when I get my Amazon package that I recently ordered, you better watch out. Because I ordered a bunch of flags, and they're going on every vest. And I'm a lot scarier. And you know what the funny thing is? I'm a lot scarier in person. So I can't wait to see people's reaction when they see me sporting my flags, my pride flags.
Nice.
This has been a brilliant stream. I cannot fault this. This has been one of the most fun. I think probably one of the more informative.
And the most on topic.
And the most on topic, because we had managed to stay pretty much on topic until the whole... But even the sidetracks were on topic. Even the stuff with Alexa and Siri and all that was still topic. So we stayed pretty close most of the way through with the topic. But I think it's because for every single person on this, all four of us, it's a topic that means something to us. So it's very easy to stay on topic in that sense. So
and all it comes down to is, I like my booties.
Absolutely.
One of these days I'll go to Pride and I'll wear assless chaps just because why the fuck not?
Damn right.
I'll wear assless chaps, knee-high boots, a corset, and a flouncy top. Like, low cut, of course. Gotta let the girls breathe and show them off.
Damn right.
With goth makeup.
Yes, with goth makeup. And then after hours, maybe I'll strip down naked and let them paint my whole body like they do at this bar down in Key West.
They do the same thing here. I'm not kidding you when I say, like, after 5, all the pants come off. Everyone's wearing body paint. Same here. Same thing happens here. Same thing. And, they used to have a foam party for free, too. That was, like, wear protection and hope you don't get pregnant. I'm talking about myself. Kidding. I was kidding. Pride joke. Have fun. Be gay. Fight people. Stay away from pride.
So, Kitty, have you got anything coming up?
Just the stuff with you guys.
Okay.
Awesome.
And Will's just said what he's doing.
Oh, no, I'm not done. You're
not done. Okay.
No.
Well, before you finish what you were saying, Jenny, have you got anything coming up?
Well, just the usual stuff like I'm a movie night Friday night, 10:30 Eastern, Central, 10:30 Central, and whenever B shows up, I jump on her stream and well, not Purple tonight, or no Purple tonight because he's out on his way to Diana.
Yeah. She's heading down to Diana. So yeah. Okay. So, and well.
So, I am Godless Sewing of the Godless Sewing channel. Thank you if you've lasted this long. We love you all. Thank you for showing up. And remember, every Wednesday, Sam Chaos, Sadie Sadie, Maddie from Science Side Up, and myself, we have Pub Religion, which is an atheist, a pagan, and a Christian walk into a bar, and we hug it out. We talk about life. And every Thursday, we used to do the What the Fuck Show, but here we are doing the What the Fuck Show. If not, we'll do the Sewing Circle by default, always, which is a giant shit show that you can see from outer space, so bring your space helmet. And be
next
ready
week's
to.
show will be a sewing circle because I'm away
So next
for the
week,
entire week.
So next week, bring your space helmets. We'll be doing a sewing circle. It'll probably be Pride 2.0, the revenge. I'm still here to fight you. That might be the theme of next week's of sewing circle.
Celine came to say hello. This is Celine. She's my
Aw.
oldest cat. She's a sweet little girl.
Yeah. Aww. My kitty didn't come on stream today. I don't even know who she is,
Oh,
actually. My kitty's
and-
a drug addict.
hooked on the nip.
Hooked on catnip.
Celine,
Okay,
I can't
so-
sew if you're laying on my arm.
There's one thing I'd like to say, and I said I wasn't going to say it, but I am going to say it. Please choke on the selfie stick because the turfs are watching. And I also would like to thank all weirdos, stalkers, haters, closeted, you guys. Thank you for your hate watch. I love you all. I will continue to be shining. I shine like glitter because it's natural, and I'm not one of those weird vampires that play baseball.
And
Glitter.
if you are a turf, make sure you shove that selfie stick up your ass before you choke on it.
Yeah. So remember, you gotta be extra shiny because the turfs and the haters and the self-haters are always
Be a
watching.
fucking Tamatoa. This is one time it's okay to be a Tamatoa.
I'd like to just say one
That
thing.
was Bowie in drag. Like,
Damn
I mean,
right.
seriously, that is. I picture Bowie in drag singing Tamatoa's songs "Shiny."
I would like to say one thing to the haters and the trolls. Hey, you folks out there in chat who are just like lurking and hating and trolling. When you come out, we're still going to love you.
Absolutely.
And that's something you will always see in the community. The turfs who convert, who get away from that cult and come back in, they are welcomed with open arms by the rest of the LGBTQ plus community. They are welcomed in and said, "Hey, great, we are glad to see you out of that cult. How can we help you?" This is always what happens in that situation.
Yeah, and if you are a turf, realize that you're no smarter than somebody who believes in flat Earth.
You're wasting your life. Quit hating people. Quit hating people.
Yeah.
Do what I do. I watch 70s sitcoms, smoke weed, and mind my own business.
So yeah, as I've already said, I am away, not available much for over the next week. I may jump in on a couple of streams if I have time, but it depends how much time I have. I'm pretty busy doing a whole heap of helping my brother with a whole heap of his medical stuff over the next week. So I won't be doing any of my own streams. I may, if I've got time, like I said, hop in on other people's, but I won't be doing any of my own. But after I get back, there'll be more Schrodinger's Bathtub with more science discussions, more interesting guests and stuff like that. For that, there'll be more What the Fuck shows. But as Will said, they're interspaced with sewing circles because it can be hard to put this show together every week, and I'm not always available to do the streaming. And we like to share the love a bit, so that's why that gets shifted around a bit. I'll also hopefully be trying to do 2 Schrodinger's bathtubs a week. So when I do the discussion that's about trans women in sport, I may do that as a discussion with more sciencey people to actually talk about the stuff with a small group, and then we may have a big discussion about it following that on the What the Fuck show, which I think would be. This is a better platform for people to sit and argue and yell at each other and get really vocal than my sciencey talk.
And you know what? The sewing circle the next week will be, we're going to skip to part 3, and it's going to be Return of the Red Eye. I'm coming for all turfs, all the weirdos. I'm coming for you.
Okay, so I want to say, like Will said, thank you to everybody who's joined us, who's stuck with us throughout this. Thank you to my one and only Patreon, Chris. I do have a Patreon now, so if you've got a few bucks and you can throw and help out with keeping stuff running on this channel and all that, I'd be eternally grateful. Link is down in the description. Everyone's link except Jenny's at the moment is down in there. I will add Jenny's later. I'm sorry, Jenny. I just didn't have it set up so I could add it during the stream. My fault entirely. But please go and follow everybody here on Twitter and sub to their channels and all that, so you know when stuff's coming out. And yeah, please try not to choke on the selfie stick unless you're a fucking turf.
Stay away from Pride. I'll be at the gates as the gatekeeper, ready to fight people. I'll be there in every city.
Dude,
tell stories about me like the doctor.
We'll make sure that you look fabulous. Between you and me, who will be the fabulous gatekeeper.
Absolutely.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Good night.